Your ability to think clearly shapes every decision you make, and it can be improved. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by complicated problems or unsure if your conclusions really make sense? You're not alone. Developing strong critical thinking skills helps you see situations more clearly, weigh options carefully, and avoid costly mistakes. It's not about being perfect, it's about training your mind to work better every day. In this audiobook, you'll learn practical ways to sharpen your thinking, stay focused, and handle challenges with confidence. Imagine facing tough questions without stress or confusion, knowing you can break things down and understand them deeply. If you want to stop doubting yourself and start trusting your own mind, keep watching. This is your chance to build mental strength and take control of how you think, and that can change your life. Chapter 1. Question everything around you to deepen understanding daily. Questioning everything around you is not about doubting for the sake of skepticism or becoming cynical about life. It is a purposeful, disciplined practice to deepen your understanding and sharpen your mind every single day. When you begin to question actively, you break free from the autopilot mode, where you accept things as they come, and instead, you start to engage with reality more fully. This process is the foundation of critical thinking because it forces you to examine the world closely, look beyond surface appearances, and explore the deeper truths that shape your beliefs, decisions, and actions. Every moment offers an opportunity to ask questions. Why do you believe what you believe? What evidence supports it? Could there be another way to see this? Is the source trustworthy? These simple questions, when asked regularly, create a mental habit that builds resilience and intellectual clarity. Questioning is not a one-time event. It is a continuous journey of discovery. It teaches patience and humility as you recognize the limits of your knowledge, and encourages curiosity as you seek to learn more. This process transforms your thinking from passive acceptance to active investigation. The first step in this journey is to cultivate awareness. Most people go through life accepting information without much thought. The news, opinions, social media, traditions, even your own assumptions, all pass through your mind without challenge. Becoming aware means pausing and observing the thoughts, beliefs, and facts that enter your consciousness. Awareness is like shining a light into the dark corners of your mind to see what is there. It allows you to identify automatic reactions, unquestioned beliefs, and assumptions that you might have inherited without examination. Awareness creates space for questioning because you become conscious of what is truly being presented to you. Once awareness is established, the next step is to develop a mindset of curiosity. Curiosity drives questioning. It is the willingness to admit you don't know everything and the eagerness to explore new ideas. Curiosity means looking at familiar situations with fresh eyes and asking, what else could this mean? Or what am I missing? This mindset rejects complacency and encourages you to dig deeper. Curiosity also makes questioning an enjoyable pursuit rather than a burden. When curiosity guides your questions, you approach challenges with openness and a desire to improve your understanding, rather than defensiveness or fear of being wrong. Questioning everything also requires courage because it can be uncomfortable. Challenging long-held beliefs or societal norms often meets resistance, both from within and from others. There can be a natural tendency to cling to certainty and avoid difficult questions because they threaten our sense of security. True growth, however, comes from stepping into that discomfort. It means welcoming doubt as a necessary part of learning and refusing to settle for easy answers. Courage in questioning builds mental toughness and emotional resilience, helping you navigate complexity without losing your composure or sense of direction. The quality of your questions matters. Questions that are open-ended and thoughtful open doors to deeper insight. Instead of asking, "Is this right or wrong?" ask, "What are the reasons behind this idea?" or "How does this affect the bigger picture?" Good questions lead you to analyze, compare and reflect rather than simply accept or reject. They invite exploration and broaden your perspective. Learning to craft better questions is a skill that multiplies your capacity to think critically because it encourages you to consider multiple angles and gather diverse information before forming conclusions. In daily life, questioning everything can be applied practically in many ways. When reading news or articles, don't take headlines at face value. Pause and ask, who is the source? What evidence is provided? Is there bias or agenda behind this? When making decisions, question your motivations and the assumptions behind your choices. Are you acting based on facts or emotions? Are you considering alternatives or only focusing on what feels familiar? When faced with problems, question the problem statement itself. Are you addressing the root cause or just the symptoms? This habit trains your mind to look beyond obvious answers and seek clarity. Questioning also improves communication and relationships. When you listen to others with a questioning mindset, you engage more deeply. Instead of immediately agreeing or disagreeing, you ask questions that clarify their viewpoint and uncover underlying reasons. This creates a richer dialogue and reduces misunderstandings. It also fosters empathy because you acknowledge that there might be valid reasons behind different perspectives. By questioning kindly and thoughtfully, you build trust and respect, making conversations more productive and meaningful. Another critical area where questioning transforms your life is self-reflection. Regularly asking yourself challenging questions can illuminate your strengths and weaknesses, your fears and hopes, and your true priorities. Questions like, why did I react that way? What can I learn from this experience? How can I improve tomorrow? Turn everyday experiences into lessons for growth. This kind of self-inquiry fosters responsibility because you become the active agent in your development. You stop blaming external circumstances and start focusing on what you can control, your thoughts, choices, and actions. Adopting a habit of questioning also aligns with the wisdom of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics taught that our power lies not in controlling external events, but in mastering our judgments about them. By questioning the impressions and beliefs that arise in your mind, you take control over your responses. This leads to clearer thinking and greater emotional balance. Instead of reacting impulsively, you pause, examine the situation, and respond thoughtfully. Questioning helps you recognize what is within your control and what is not, reducing unnecessary anxiety and empowering you to act wisely. To build this habit, set aside time daily for intentional questioning. This could be a quiet moment of reflection where you review the events of your day and ask what you understood well and what you might have missed. Keep a journal to write down questions that arise throughout the day and explore possible answers. When you encounter new information, challenge it before accepting it. Create mental reminders to pause and question assumptions before making judgments. Over time, this practice will become natural and automatic, reshaping how you engage with the world. It is important to remember that questioning is not about endless doubt or paralysis. It is about informed inquiry that leads to better decisions and deeper wisdom. The goal is progress, not perfection. You will not have all the answers, and that is perfectly fine. The strength lies in your willingness to seek truth actively and adjust your views as you learn. This openness to change is the hallmark of a mature and resilient thinker. The benefits of consistently questioning everything around you are profound. You will find yourself less swayed by misinformation or emotional manipulation. Your decisions will be clearer and more grounded in reality. Your mind will become sharper, more adaptable, and more creative. You will develop confidence in your ability to navigate uncertainty and complexity. Most importantly, you will experience a deeper connection to the world because your understanding will be richer and more nuanced. In practice, you might start the day by questioning the assumptions you have about your goals. Are these goals truly yours or imposed by others? Are they realistic and meaningful? During conversations, ask questions that encourage deeper thinking rather than surface-level exchanges. When consuming media, filter information through your critical questions before accepting it as truth. At work or in problem-solving, break down challenges by questioning the underlying facts and exploring alternatives. These small, consistent acts create momentum and build mental strength over time. Questioning everything is a lifelong discipline. It is not a one-time fix, but a continuous process that evolves as you grow. Embrace it as a daily habit and a powerful tool for personal mastery. Each question you ask brings you closer to clarity, freedom, and wisdom. It strengthens your resilience by teaching you to rely on your reason and not on external circumstances. It shapes your character by cultivating humility and curiosity. Ultimately, questioning transforms your relationship with the world and yourself, unlocking a path toward meaningful and sustained growth. Choosing to question everything is choosing to live deliberately. It is deciding to take responsibility for your mind and the life you create. It requires effort, patience, and courage, but offers a reward beyond measure, a mind that is free, clear, and capable of handling whatever life throws your way. This is the essence of true critical thinking and the foundation for improving every aspect of your life daily. Commit to this practice and watch how it changes not only how you think, but who you become. Chapter 2. Analyze assumptions to identify hidden biases and errors. The mind is constantly operating beneath the surface, often running on assumptions that go unnoticed, quietly shaping every decision and judgment you make. These hidden assumptions, if left unchecked, can mislead you, cloud your thinking, and hold you back from reaching your fullest potential. To truly sharpen your critical thinking and master your life, you must learn to identify and analyze these assumptions. Only then can you expose hidden biases and errors that distort your view of reality and make wiser, clearer decisions. Every thought, belief, and action often rests on unexamined premises. These assumptions can be about yourself, others, or the world. They may seem obvious or self-evident, but rarely are they questioned deeply. The danger is that if your assumptions are flawed or biased, everything built upon them becomes shaky. Like a house built on sand, your reasoning collapses under pressure. By actively seeking out and challenging these underlying assumptions, you lay a strong foundation for sound judgment and resilient thinking. Assumptions can take many forms. Some are explicit, stated directly or implied clearly, while many are implicit, hiding beneath the surface in your subconscious mind. For example, you might assume that success requires luck rather than effort, that people cannot change, or that your past defines your future. These beliefs shape how you approach challenges and opportunities. Yet, because they are rarely scrutinized, they operate like blinders, narrowing your vision and limiting possibilities. The first step in analyzing assumptions is developing the skill to recognize them. This requires a disciplined awareness of your thought patterns and the reasons behind your beliefs. Whenever you catch yourself making a judgment, pause and ask, what am I assuming here, or what needs to be true for me to believe this? Often you will discover a chain of beliefs leading to your conclusion. This chain may be fragile or unsupported by evidence. The power lies in making these invisible threads visible so you can evaluate their strength and validity. Once assumptions are identified, the next step is to examine their origins and legitimacy. Where did this assumption come from? Was it inherited from family, culture, education, or past experiences? Is it based on facts or feelings? Often, assumptions are born from limited perspectives or emotional reactions rather than objective analysis. Recognizing the source helps you understand whether the assumption still holds true or needs to be revised. This process demands honesty and humility because it means admitting that some beliefs may be outdated or incorrect. Analyzing assumptions also means detecting biases that lurk within them. Biases are tendencies to favor certain ideas or outcomes unconsciously, shaped by experiences, emotions, or social influences. Confirmation bias, for example, leads you to accept information that supports your existing beliefs while dismissing contradictory evidence. Availability bias causes you to rely too heavily on recent or vivid examples rather than a balanced view. By scrutinizing your assumptions, you expose these biases, reducing their power to mislead you. This awareness allows you to approach situations more objectively and with greater clarity. The process of questioning assumptions is not about rejecting them outright, but evaluating their usefulness and accuracy. Some assumptions may stand strong after careful review and serve as reliable guides. Others may reveal flaws, prompting you to replace them with better, more grounded beliefs. This refinement strengthens your mental framework, enabling you to make decisions that reflect reality more faithfully. It is a form of mental housekeeping that keeps your thinking fresh, relevant, and aligned with truth. In practice, this skill transforms how you approach everyday challenges. For example, if you struggle with self-doubt, analyze the assumptions behind it. Are you assuming failure is inevitable? Are you equating past mistakes with future limitations? By identifying these false premises, you can challenge them and replace them with empowering beliefs grounded in evidence and self-respect. This shift not only boosts confidence, but also expands your capacity to act decisively and creatively. Another powerful application is in interpersonal relationships. Misunderstandings and conflicts often arise from hidden assumptions about others' intentions or behaviors. By questioning these assumptions, am I assuming they meant harm, or is my judgment based on facts or emotions? You open space for empathy and clearer communication. This practice reduces needless tension and fosters healthier connections because it encourages seeing people more fairly and with less projection. Analyzing assumptions also improves problem-solving skills. Complex problems frequently come wrapped in layers of unexamined premises. Breaking down the problem requires peeling back these layers and questioning each one. Is the problem defined correctly? Are the constraints real or assumed? Could alternative explanations exist? This rigorous analysis frees you from mental traps and opens new avenues for solutions. It enhances creativity and effectiveness by ensuring you are addressing the true core rather than symptoms or illusions. The power of this approach aligns deeply with the principles of Stoic wisdom. The Stoics taught that clarity of judgment arises from examining impressions before accepting them. They urged questioning the automatic beliefs that disturb peace of mind and cloud reason. This philosophy encourages you to train your mind as a guardian, filtering thoughts with logic and calm reflection. By analyzing assumptions, you prevent emotional reactions from hijacking your decisions, cultivating a disciplined mind that remains steady in chaos. To develop this habit, set a daily practice of reflecting on your assumptions. Begin by journaling about key beliefs you hold about yourself, your goals, or the world. Ask yourself, why do I believe this? What evidence supports it? Could there be another perspective? Challenge yourself to look for counterexamples or contradictions. This exercise builds mental flexibility and self-awareness. Over time, it becomes second nature to question assumptions before accepting them, creating a powerful filter against error and bias. It is also helpful to seek perspectives from others as a check against your blind spots. Sharing your assumptions with trusted people invites feedback and alternative viewpoints you might have missed. This external input can reveal hidden biases or errors more quickly than solitary reflection. Dialogue sharpens your thinking by testing assumptions in the crucible of conversation. It also humbles you, reminding you that no one sees everything perfectly and that growth requires openness. Recognizing assumptions requires vigilance because the mind prefers certainty and comfort. There is often resistance to questioning deeply held beliefs, especially those tied to identity or emotional security. This resistance manifests as rationalizations or dismissals. Overcoming it demands commitment and courage. It means embracing uncertainty as a necessary stage of learning and accepting that growth requires breaking down old mental walls. This process is never easy, but it is essential for true mastery of thought and life. The reward for this effort is immense. As you become skilled at analyzing assumptions, your mind becomes a sharp instrument capable of cutting through confusion and deception. You gain freedom from mental traps that keep you stuck in fear, anger, or false hope. Your decisions become more deliberate and aligned with reality. Your ability to adapt and grow in a changing world multiplies. You cultivate peace of mind because you no longer accept every impulse or belief without question. Practicing this discipline also deepens your character. It strengthens virtues like humility, because you admit that your knowledge is limited and always evolving. It nurtures patience as you learn to sit with uncertainty instead of rushing to judgment. It fosters resilience, equipping you to face challenges without being overwhelmed by faulty thinking. In every way, analyzing assumptions empowers you to become the architect of your own mind and the author of your own life. In everyday moments, you might notice assumptions shaping your reactions to news, social situations, or personal setbacks. Instead of reacting automatically, pause and ask, what assumption am I making here? Is this assumption fair and accurate? This simple habit transforms your experience by slowing down impulsive thoughts and opening space for reasoned choice. It shifts your mindset from reactive to proactive, giving you control over your mental and emotional state. Learning to identify hidden errors in your assumptions is like tuning a musical instrument. Without this careful adjustment, your mind produces discordant thoughts and confusion. With it, your thinking flows smoothly and powerfully, creating harmony within and clarity without. This mastery of assumptions is not a destination but a lifelong journey. Each day offers new lessons and new opportunities to refine your understanding. To deepen this skill, cultivate curiosity about your inner world. Approach your beliefs with the same investigative spirit you would apply to any complex problem. Keep a mental notebook of assumptions you uncover and track how they evolve over time. Celebrate moments when you catch a faulty assumption and replace it with truth. These victories build momentum, reinforcing your commitment to disciplined thinking. Ultimately, the practice of analyzing assumptions transforms how you see yourself and the world. It reveals the layers beneath surface appearances and invites you to live with greater clarity and purpose. It teaches you that certainty is earned through inquiry, not given blindly. This approach turns every challenge into a chance to learn and grow. It empowers you to navigate life with wisdom and resilience, building a mind that is both strong and flexible. This is not a quick fix or an easy path. It requires dedication and self-honesty, but the rewards far outweigh the effort. By mastering the skill of analyzing assumptions, you equip yourself with one of the most powerful tools for personal growth and success. You become someone who doesn't just survive in the world but understands it deeply and acts with precision and calm. The clarity you gain from this practice becomes a beacon, guiding your decisions and actions toward what truly matters. Your relationships improve as you listen and understand more fully. Your goals become clearer because they rest on solid ground. You become a person who thinks deeply, acts wisely, and lives authentically. Embrace the challenge of uncovering your hidden assumptions. Welcome the discomfort that comes with questioning deeply held beliefs. Know that this struggle is the forge that tempers your mind into a weapon of clarity and strength. With every assumption you analyze and every bias you reveal, you take another step toward mastering your thoughts and transforming your life. Chapter 3. Evaluate evidence critically before accepting any claims. Never accept what you hear or see at face value. True power comes from learning to evaluate evidence critically and refusing to be swayed by empty claims or flimsy arguments. The ability to sift through information, judge its credibility, and make decisions based on solid evidence separates those who live intentionally from those who drift through life, accepting whatever is handed to them. This skill is not just about skepticism, it is about cultivating a sharp, discerning mind that seeks truth relentlessly and acts with confidence built on a foundation of facts. Every day you are bombarded with information, from news reports and social media posts to advice from friends and strangers. The challenge is to distinguish between what is true, what is misleading, and what is outright false. Many claims are presented with convincing language or emotional appeal, but this does not guarantee their accuracy. Without careful evaluation, you risk basing your decisions on faulty premises, which can lead to wasted time, missed opportunities, and costly mistakes. Learning to evaluate evidence critically means developing a mindset that questions rather than accepts. When you encounter a claim, do not rush to judgment. Instead, pause and consider, where does this information come from? Is the source trustworthy? What evidence supports the claim, and how strong is that evidence? These questions act as filters, separating meaningful data from noise. They prevent impulsive acceptance and foster thoughtful consideration, which is essential for wise decision-making. An important aspect of critical evaluation is understanding the difference between correlation and causation. Just because two things occur together does not mean one causes the other. Many misleading claims rely on this confusion. For example, a sudden increase in sales after an advertisement does not automatically prove the ad's effectiveness. Other factors might have influenced the outcome. Being alert to such distinctions protects you from being duped by superficial or incomplete evidence. Evidence comes in various forms, and not all carry the same weight. Anecdotes or personal stories, while compelling, are not reliable proof because they represent isolated experiences that may not reflect the broader reality. Statistics and studies are often stronger, but even these require scrutiny. Who conducted the research? Was the methodology sound? Are there biases in how the data was collected or interpreted? Questioning these details reveals the true reliability of evidence. Be aware of confirmation bias, the tendency to favor information that supports your existing beliefs. This bias can make you accept weak evidence if it aligns with what you want to believe, while dismissing stronger evidence that challenges your views. A truly critical mind fights this instinct by welcoming challenges to its assumptions and seeking out diverse perspectives. This openness sharpens judgment and prevents the trap of self-deception. It is also crucial to recognize logical fallacies, errors in reasoning that often sneak into arguments. Appeals to emotion, false dilemmas, ad hominem attacks, and slippery slopes are common tactics used to persuade without solid evidence. Identifying these tricks equips you to see beyond the surface and focus on the substance of the claim. A claim wrapped in emotional manipulation may feel convincing, but it holds no power if it lacks factual support. Critical evaluation requires patience. Not every claim can be judged instantly. Sometimes it involves digging deeper, checking multiple sources, comparing conflicting reports, and verifying facts independently. This process may seem tedious, but it builds a mental muscle that grows stronger with use. Over time, you will find it easier and faster to spot weak evidence and unreliable claims, saving you from costly errors and false beliefs. When you practice this discipline, your confidence in your choices skyrockets. Decisions based on well-examined evidence stand firm under scrutiny and pressure. You become less swayed by rumors, hype, or popular opinion, and more guided by reality. This clarity creates freedom because you act from knowledge rather than fear or guesswork. Critical evaluation also transforms how you communicate with others. When you engage in discussions or debates, your arguments become more persuasive and grounded. You can present evidence clearly, anticipate counter-arguments, and avoid emotional pitfalls. This approach earns respect and influence because it shows you are thoughtful and credible, not reactive or blindly loyal to any idea. Learning to evaluate evidence critically is a lifelong commitment. The world changes, new information emerges, and even well-established facts may be challenged. Staying alert to this flux means continuously updating your beliefs in light of new, credible evidence. This flexibility is not weakness but strength. It keeps your thinking dynamic, resilient, and aligned with reality. One of the greatest benefits of this skill is the way it protects your mental well-being. In an age of misinformation and manipulation, accepting claims blindly can lead to anxiety, confusion, and regret. But when you rely on critically evaluated evidence, your mind finds stability. You develop a grounded perspective that resists the chaos of falsehoods and emotional noise, allowing you to navigate life with calm and clarity. To cultivate this skill, begin with small steps. Challenge a news headline, investigate a popular opinion, or verify a claim before sharing it. Ask yourself what evidence is missing or needed to be certain. Practice explaining your reasoning to others, as teaching deepens your understanding and reveals gaps in your logic. Gradually, you will build a habit of critical inquiry that becomes second nature. Remember that critical evaluation is not cynicism, it is a constructive and hopeful practice. It seeks truth because truth empowers. It is a refusal to settle for half-truths or illusions because only reality can lead to lasting success and fulfillment. This mindset equips you to rise above the noise, seize real opportunities, and create a life based on wisdom and clarity. When you face a claim, greet it with a healthy dose of curiosity and caution. Do not be afraid to ask hard questions, demand evidence, and take your time. This careful approach transforms you from a passive receiver of information into an active seeker of truth. It enables you to build a mental fortress where only solid, verified facts enter, protecting you from deception and error. The power of evaluating evidence critically extends beyond personal decisions. It influences how you engage with the world. You become a beacon of reason in conversations, a model of thoughtful discernment among peers, and an individual whose choices inspire confidence. This ability to weigh evidence carefully also fosters integrity because your actions align with truth rather than convenience or persuasion. In your journey, you will encounter situations where evidence is scarce or ambiguous. In these moments, recognize the limits of certainty and avoid jumping to conclusions. It is better to withhold judgment than to accept weak claims. This patience is a sign of strength, demonstrating your commitment to truth rather than convenience. The more you practice, the more you develop an instinctive radar for quality evidence. You learn to spot exaggerations, question sources, and weigh conflicting information with ease. This intuition is a powerful tool that protects you from scams, false promises, and poor choices. It empowers you to invest your time, energy, and resources where they truly belong. Critical evaluation sharpens your ability to adapt and grow. As you gather better evidence, you refine your strategies and goals, you discard ineffective habits and embrace new approaches supported by facts. This ongoing process of learning and adjusting creates momentum, propelling you toward greater achievements. The journey toward mastering evidence evaluation is a path to intellectual freedom. It frees you from manipulation, fear, and confusion. It invites you into a reality where your mind is your greatest asset, a well-tuned instrument of clarity and insight. This freedom is the foundation for living a life of purpose, success, and true self-mastery. So commit today to question boldly, seek proof diligently, and accept only what stands up to scrutiny. In doing so, you claim the power to shape your destiny with certainty and wisdom. The path to mastery begins with a single determined choice to never accept a claim without critically evaluating the evidence behind it. Chapter 4. Challenge your beliefs to strengthen or revise them. True growth begins the moment you dare to challenge the beliefs you once held as absolute. Beliefs shape everything about how you see the world, how you interpret your experiences, and how you choose to act. Yet, most people live their entire lives without ever questioning these mental frameworks, accepting them as unchangeable truths. To become stronger, wiser, and more resilient, you must learn to question, test, and sometimes revise the very foundations of your thinking. Beliefs can be powerful allies or subtle chains. They give you identity, confidence, and direction, but when left unexamined, they can trap you in outdated patterns and blind spots. Challenging your beliefs is not about tearing yourself down or losing your sense of self. It is about forging a more flexible, accurate, and robust mindset that serves you better in every situation. This process demands courage because it requires you to face discomfort, uncertainty, and sometimes admit that what you thought was true no longer fits. The first step to challenging your beliefs is awareness. Most beliefs operate beneath your conscious attention, woven into your automatic thoughts and emotional reactions. To identify them, pay close attention to your judgments and immediate reactions in daily life. What assumptions do you make about people, circumstances, or yourself without questioning? These are clues to the beliefs guiding you. Write them down. Seeing your beliefs clearly gives you the power to analyze them. Once you know your beliefs, invite curiosity to examine them. Ask yourself why you hold these beliefs. Are they based on your own experience, or were they inherited from family, culture, or society? Are they backed by evidence, or do they rely on feelings and assumptions? Sometimes beliefs are formed to protect you from pain or failure, but they might also limit your potential. Being honest with yourself about why a belief exists reveals its true purpose and whether it still serves you. Next, explore the consequences of holding each belief. How does it influence your decisions, emotions, and relationships? Does it inspire action or provoke fear? Does it open doors or build walls? Some beliefs may offer comfort but create stagnation, while others might challenge you but lead to growth. Understanding the impact of your beliefs motivates you to keep those that empower and reconsider those that hinder. Challenging beliefs also involves seeking alternative perspectives. Look for ideas that conflict with your current mindset and explore them with an open mind. This might mean reading books, listening to people who disagree with you, or reflecting on experiences that contradict your assumptions. Exposure to different viewpoints expands your thinking and reveals the limitations of your existing beliefs. The goal is not to abandon your identity, but to enrich it with deeper understanding. During this process, you will encounter resistance from within. Your mind and emotions will want to defend familiar beliefs because they represent safety and certainty. This inner resistance is natural, but can be overcome by reminding yourself that growth requires stepping beyond comfort zones. Holding rigid beliefs may feel safe, but true security comes from adaptability. When you strengthen your capacity to revise beliefs, you become more prepared to handle life's inevitable changes and challenges. As you examine your beliefs, be willing to let some go or modify them. This is not a sign of weakness, but a mark of wisdom. Clinging to outdated or false beliefs only blocks progress. Revising beliefs allows you to align your thinking with reality and expand your possibilities. It creates mental space for new opportunities and deeper self-awareness. Strengthening beliefs is equally important. Not every belief needs to be discarded or changed. Some core beliefs, when tested, stand firm and become sources of resilience. When you challenge your beliefs and they hold strong, your confidence in them deepens. This process builds mental toughness because your convictions are no longer unexamined dogmas but well-founded truths. This clarity helps you act decisively and with purpose. One practical method for challenging beliefs is to play the devil's advocate with yourself. Take a belief you hold and argue the opposite point of view, even if it feels uncomfortable. This exercise reveals weaknesses or blind spots in your thinking. It forces you to gather evidence and consider alternatives more thoroughly. Over time, this habit strengthens critical thinking and reduces the risk of being trapped by biases. Another powerful approach is journaling. Writing about your beliefs, why you hold them, and what challenges them brings unconscious thoughts to light. It also tracks your progress as beliefs evolve. Reviewing past journal entries can show how your thinking has grown and highlight recurring patterns that need attention. This ongoing self-dialogue is a vital tool for continuous mental refinement. Challenging your beliefs also benefits your relationships. When you remain open to revising your perspectives, you become a better listener and communicator. You can engage with others' views without defensiveness or judgment, creating deeper understanding and connection. This openness fosters respect and trust, enriching both personal and professional interactions. It is important to approach this journey with patience and compassion. Belief change rarely happens overnight. It can be unsettling and provoke doubt, but this discomfort is the sign of transformation. Allow yourself time to absorb new insights and adjust gradually. Celebrate small shifts in thinking because they pave the way for larger breakthroughs. The courage to question your beliefs prepares you for a life of continuous learning. It cultivates humility, the recognition that no matter how much you know, there is always more to discover. This humility is a strength, not a flaw. It keeps your mind agile and receptive, equipping you to adapt in an ever-changing world. At its core, challenging your beliefs is an act of self-respect. It honors your capacity to grow beyond inherited limitations and to create a reality aligned with your highest potential. You refuse to be a passive recipient of ideas and instead become an active architect of your worldview. When you choose to challenge your beliefs, you empower yourself to break free from mental prisons. You discover new strengths, uncover hidden opportunities, and gain a clearer vision of who you truly are. This freedom ignites motivation and fuels relentless progress toward your goals. Commit to this practice daily. Question assumptions that arise in your mind. Welcome discomfort as a signal that growth is underway. Seek knowledge that expands your horizons. Surround yourself with ideas that push you to think deeper. Each step forward rewires your brain and strengthens your mental resilience. Remember, beliefs are not facts. They are perspectives that can evolve. Holding this truth gives you permission to let go when needed and to embrace transformation without fear. Your beliefs should serve you, not the other way around. As you continue this process, you will notice how much more grounded and adaptable you become. Decisions that once felt overwhelming will grow clearer. Challenges that seemed insurmountable will become opportunities for learning. Your mindset will shift from rigid to dynamic, allowing you to thrive regardless of external circumstances. The power to strengthen or revise your beliefs lies entirely within you. It is a choice you make every moment to accept ideas passively or to engage actively with your own thinking. Choose engagement, choose growth, choose freedom. Your beliefs are the soil from which your future actions grow. Nourish them wisely by challenging their roots regularly. This discipline transforms you into a thinker who masters uncertainty and crafts a life defined by clarity and strength. Start now by identifying one belief you hold strongly. Question it honestly. Explore alternative views. Reflect on how this belief affects your life. Decide whether to keep it as is, refine it, or replace it altogether. This small act of courage is the foundation of an unstoppable mind. With every belief challenged and strengthened, you step closer to the best version of yourself. This journey demands persistence, but it promises transformation beyond imagination. Embrace it fully and watch how your world expands as your mind evolves. The path to mastery over your beliefs is the path to mastery over your life. Take that step today and never stop questioning, never stop growing, never stop evolving. Your future self will thank you. Chapter 5. Synthesize information from different sources for clarity. Clarity is the ultimate power. When you can take scattered pieces of information from different places and weave them together into a clear, coherent understanding, you create a foundation that fuels better decisions, stronger beliefs, and unstoppable progress. The world throws an overwhelming amount of data at you every day, from news, social media, conversations, books, and experiences. Without the skill to synthesize this flood into meaningful insight, confusion and overwhelm take hold. But when you master the art of synthesis, chaos turns into clarity, noise turns into knowledge, and uncertainty turns into confident action. Synthesis means more than just gathering information. It's the ability to connect dots, to see patterns that others miss, to create a bigger picture out of fragments. It requires an active mind that refuses to settle for surface-level understanding and instead digs deeper to integrate multiple perspectives into one unified whole. This skill transforms information into wisdom and empowers you to act with precision and purpose. The first step towards synthesis is being open to multiple sources. Too often, people cling rigidly to one viewpoint or one source of knowledge, limiting their vision. Real clarity demands curiosity, seeking out voices that differ from your own, exploring various disciplines, and exposing yourself to diverse experiences. Each source contributes unique insights that can challenge, refine, or enrich your understanding. Embrace this diversity as an opportunity rather than a distraction. Once you have gathered diverse inputs, begin by identifying common threads. Look for ideas or facts that appear repeatedly across sources, signaling underlying truths. These shared elements form the backbone of your synthesized knowledge. At the same time, pay close attention to contradictions. Differences between sources are not problems to avoid, but clues pointing to complexity and nuance. Wrestling with these contradictions forces your mind to think critically and creatively, pushing you beyond simple conclusions. Creating clarity from complexity involves organizing information thoughtfully. Break down large amounts of data into categories or themes that relate to your purpose. Group similar ideas together and separate unrelated ones. This organization helps your mind see structure where before there was only disorder. A well-organized mental map allows you to access knowledge quickly and connect ideas fluidly, fueling insight and innovation. Integration is the heart of synthesis. It is the process of combining ideas in ways that create new meaning or solutions. Don't just stack facts side by side. Look for how different concepts interact and influence each other. Ask yourself how one perspective can fill gaps left by another, or how opposing views might be reconciled into a higher understanding. This blending produces a richer, more nuanced grasp of reality that neither source could offer alone. To sharpen this skill, practice summarizing complex information in your own words. Teaching a concept or explaining it simply is a powerful test of your synthesis ability. When you can distill ideas into clear, concise language, it shows you've truly grasped the essence. This clarity not only benefits your own thinking, but also makes your communication more effective, helping others learn and act as well. Another valuable tool is comparison. Place ideas side by side and examine their strengths, weaknesses, and contexts. This comparative analysis reveals which concepts are more reliable, relevant, or applicable to your goals. It also highlights blind spots and biases in your thinking, encouraging continuous refinement. Comparing perspectives keeps your mind active and vigilant against accepting information passively. Synthesis also demands a healthy balance between skepticism and openness. Don't accept every piece of information at face value, but avoid dismissing ideas prematurely. Approach each source critically, asking where it comes from, what evidence supports it, and what motivations might influence it. At the same time, remain open to changing your views as new, compelling information emerges. This balance prevents both gullibility and closed-mindedness, paving the way for clearer insight. In our fast-paced, information-saturated world, synthesis is a survival skill. It empowers you to navigate complexity without getting lost. With practice, you develop a mental clarity that cuts through confusion and reveals what truly matters. This clarity boosts your confidence because decisions become less about guesswork and more about informed judgment. Furthermore, synthesizing information enhances creativity. When ideas from different fields or viewpoints collide in your mind, new possibilities emerge. These intersections spark innovation and breakthrough thinking. The ability to synthesize is the engine behind original solutions and fresh perspectives that others overlook. Building this skill requires deliberate effort. Make it a habit to read widely and deeply, not just within your comfort zone. Engage actively with what you consume. Take notes, ask questions, and challenge assumptions. Reflect regularly on how new information connects with what you already know. This ongoing process rewires your brain to think integratively. Collaboration also accelerates synthesis. When you exchange ideas with others, you gain insights you couldn't achieve alone. Different experiences and expertise create fertile ground for synthesis. Cultivate relationships with people who think differently and welcome discussions that stretch your thinking. Remember, clarity is not the absence of complexity, but the mastery of it. Synthesizing information does not mean oversimplifying or ignoring details. Instead, it means crafting understanding that holds complexity gracefully while guiding action effectively. This mastery transforms you into a thinker who can make sense of any situation and respond wisely. As you become skilled at synthesis, you will notice how your mind grows more agile and your judgments sharper. You will find it easier to spot falsehoods, uncover hidden connections, and generate effective strategies. Your ability to communicate complex ideas simply will open doors in every area of life: personal growth, career, relationships, and beyond. Begin now by choosing a topic or challenge you face. Gather information from at least 3 different sources: books, articles, videos, conversations. Take time to analyze, compare, and connect what you learn. Write down your synthesis in your own words, focusing on the core insights and how they relate. Reflect on how this clearer understanding shifts your perspective or informs your next step. With every effort to synthesize, your mental clarity strengthens. You become less overwhelmed by the flood of information and more empowered to act with precision. The world will always offer complexity, but your mind will rise above it, guided by clarity born from synthesis. This journey toward mental clarity is ongoing. Each new piece of information, each new perspective, is an opportunity to deepen your understanding. Commit to this lifelong practice and watch how your ability to synthesize transforms confusion into clarity, hesitation into decisive action, and scattered knowledge into unstoppable wisdom. When clarity becomes your default state, you will experience a profound shift. Life's challenges become puzzles you solve, rather than problems that paralyze. You move through uncertainty with calm assurance. Your goals come into sharper focus. Your impact grows because your decisions carry the weight of integrated knowledge. Harness this power daily. Challenge yourself to go beyond collecting facts. Create understanding. Draw connections others miss. Build a mental landscape where ideas coexist, interact, and evolve. This is the mark of true mastery and the key to unlocking your highest potential. The skill to synthesize is not just about intellect. It is about transforming how you live, think, and grow. As you refine this ability, you shape a mind that thrives on clarity and creates a life of purpose, confidence, and unstoppable momentum. This is the path forward. Embrace it fully, and your future will be defined by the clarity you craft today. Chapter 6. Apply logic consistently to solve problems effectively. Logic is the most powerful tool you have to turn confusion into clarity and obstacles into opportunities. When you consistently apply clear, rational thinking to every problem you face, you stop reacting blindly and start acting with purpose and precision. Logic doesn't just help you find answers, it builds a mindset that cuts through emotional noise and guesswork, making problem-solving a skill you master rather than a challenge you fear. Every problem, no matter how complex, can be broken down into manageable parts when approached logically. This means not jumping to conclusions, not letting biases cloud your judgment, and not settling for surface-level solutions. Instead, logic demands you analyze facts step by step, identify cause and effect, and methodically test ideas. The consistency in this approach is what turns ordinary problem solvers into exceptional thinkers. To apply logic effectively, you first need to clearly define the problem. Vague or incomplete problem statements lead to wasted effort and wrong answers. Take time to understand exactly what you are trying to solve. Ask yourself what the root issue is, why it matters, and what constraints or resources are involved. A well-defined problem sets a firm foundation for logical analysis. Next, gather relevant information without letting assumptions fill the gaps prematurely. Resist the urge to jump to conclusions before you have all necessary facts. Logic thrives on evidence and sound reasoning, not guesswork or wishful thinking. Evaluate data critically, seeking consistency and reliability. Be willing to discard information that doesn't fit the facts, even if it's comforting or familiar. Once the problem and facts are clear, start mapping out possible solutions. Logic encourages you to brainstorm objectively, considering multiple alternatives rather than fixating on a single obvious answer. This broad thinking creates flexibility and opens the door to innovative ideas. Analyze each option's pros and cons, possible consequences, and feasibility. A key part of logical problem solving is understanding cause and effect relationships. Trace the chain of events or factors contributing to the problem. Identifying what causes what helps you target your efforts where they will be most effective. Avoid confusing correlation with causation. Just because two things happen together doesn't mean one causes the other. Logic pushes you to dig deeper and demand proof. Testing assumptions rigorously is another cornerstone of logic. Every step of your reasoning should stand up to scrutiny. Question your own thinking and seek evidence that could disprove your conclusions. This intellectual honesty prevents costly mistakes and helps you refine your approach. Logic is less about being right the first time and more about being committed to discovering truth through iteration. As you evaluate potential solutions, apply clear criteria. What are your goals? What risks are acceptable? How much time or resources can you invest? Logical thinking means weighing options against real-world constraints instead of idealistic hopes. It grounds your decisions in practical reality, increasing your chances of success. Once a solution is chosen, implement it systematically. Logic doesn't end with a decision, it continues in execution and review. Track results closely and be prepared to adjust if things don't go as planned. A logical mindset embraces feedback and learning, turning setbacks into stepping stones rather than dead ends. Consistency is the secret weapon in using logic well. One logical decision won't transform your problem-solving overnight, but making logic your default mode of thinking creates compounding benefits. Each challenge tackled with reason builds confidence and skill, turning problem-solving into a natural habit rather than an ordeal. Often, emotions and pressures push people to react impulsively. Logic cuts through these distractions by providing a steady framework. It gives you space to pause, assess, and choose your actions deliberately. This control is empowering. Problems that once felt overwhelming become challenges you can meet calmly and effectively. To cultivate this skill, practice breaking down everyday problems logically. Whether deciding how to manage your time, handle conflicts, or plan projects, apply the steps of defining, gathering facts, brainstorming solutions, testing assumptions, and evaluating outcomes. Over time, this habit rewires your mind to approach all situations with clarity and purpose. Collaboration can also enhance logical problem solving. Engaging with others exposes you to different perspectives and reasoning styles, revealing blind spots and expanding your toolkit. Discuss your thought process openly and invite critical feedback. Logic thrives in dialogue and constructive challenge. Avoid common pitfalls that undermine logic, jumping to conclusions, letting emotions override facts, ignoring contrary evidence, or clinging to familiar but flawed solutions. Stay vigilant against these traps by committing to a disciplined, evidence-based approach. The more consistently you apply logic, the more it becomes second nature. Remember, logic is not cold or mechanical. It is the foundation of wise, effective action. When you harness logic, you empower yourself to face complexity without fear, make sound decisions even under pressure, and solve problems with creativity grounded in reason. This mental clarity transforms uncertainty into opportunity and frustration into achievement. Every step you take to strengthen your logical thinking shapes a mind that can adapt, innovate, and lead. Life's challenges will always be present, but your ability to solve problems rises with your commitment to applying logic consistently. This dedication turns obstacles into lessons and problems into breakthroughs. Start now by identifying a problem you face today. Write down what you know, what you don't know, and what you want to achieve. Approach the issue step by step using logic as your guide. Notice how this methodical approach shifts your perspective, reduces stress, and opens new pathways forward. With each problem you tackle logically, your confidence grows. You stop fearing complexity because you know how to break it down. Your decisions gain clarity because they rest on solid reasoning. Your actions become more deliberate because they are backed by evidence and thoughtful analysis. Logic sharpens your mind and expands your potential. It builds resilience by teaching you to rely on reason instead of reaction. It cultivates patience by encouraging thoroughness instead of haste. It develops creativity by inviting you to explore multiple solutions instead of settling prematurely. The power of logic is available to anyone willing to commit to consistent practice. It is not a natural gift reserved for a few, but a skill cultivated through discipline and curiosity. Every time you choose reason over impulse, every time you demand evidence before conclusion, you take a step toward mastery. Imagine approaching every problem in life with a calm, clear mind, equipped to navigate complexity with confidence. Picture the impact of solving challenges efficiently, reducing wasted effort, and opening doors to new possibilities. This is the transformation logic offers. Your journey to effective problem solving starts with one decision: to apply logic consistently. Choose this path today, and watch how your ability to face any challenge grows stronger. Your decisions become wiser, and your life moves forward with unstoppable momentum. Chapter 7. Reflect on your thinking to recognize improvement areas. The most powerful growth comes when you take a moment to look inward and honestly examine how you think. Reflection is not a passive activity, it's a deliberate practice that reveals blind spots, challenges habits, and opens the door to real improvement. Without reflection, your mind moves forward blindly, repeating the same patterns and missing opportunities to sharpen itself. To reflect on your thinking means to pause, step back, and analyze your thought processes critically. It requires courage to confront your mental habits without judgment, but with genuine curiosity. When you become aware of how you approach problems, make decisions, or respond to challenges, you gain valuable insight into what works and what needs adjustment. Improvement begins with awareness. Many of us operate on autopilot, letting old assumptions, emotions, or biases guide our choices unconsciously. Reflecting breaks this cycle by shining light on these hidden influences. It gives you the chance to ask, are my thoughts leading me toward my goals, or are they holding me back? Which patterns serve me well, and which create unnecessary friction? Start by paying attention to moments when your thinking felt unclear, overwhelmed, or stuck. These moments are clues pointing to areas where reflection can make a difference. Did you jump to conclusions too quickly? Were you overly influenced by fear or doubt? Did you overlook important facts? Pinpointing these moments provides concrete targets for improvement. Reflection also involves examining your emotional responses to situations. Emotions often color how we interpret events and make decisions. Being mindful of this influence allows you to separate feeling from fact, creating space to choose more balanced and effective responses. It's not about suppressing emotion, but understanding its role in your thinking. Another key part of reflection is questioning your assumptions. What beliefs did you rely on when approaching a problem? Are those beliefs based on evidence or habit? Are they flexible enough to adapt when new information arises? Challenging your assumptions leads to greater mental clarity and reduces the risk of error. Tracking your thought patterns over time reveals trends that may otherwise go unnoticed. Regularly set aside time to review your decisions, judgments, and problem-solving approaches. Consider keeping a journal where you note down situations where your thinking was particularly effective or ineffective. Over weeks and months, this record becomes a powerful tool for self-awareness. As you reflect, look for recurring mental habits that limit you. Do you tend to focus on negatives more than positives? Are you prone to overthinking or procrastination? Do you dismiss alternative viewpoints too quickly? Identifying these tendencies is the first step toward developing strategies to change them. Improvement requires setting clear goals for your thinking. Once you identify areas needing growth, define what success looks like. For example, you might aim to become more patient with complex problems, more open to feedback, or more disciplined in gathering facts before deciding. Concrete goals make reflection purposeful and actionable. Reflection is most effective when combined with feedback from others. Sometimes our internal perspective is incomplete or biased. Engaging trusted mentors, colleagues, or friends in conversations about your thinking can reveal blind spots and offer fresh viewpoints. Listening openly to feedback strengthens your capacity for honest reflection. It's important to approach reflection with kindness toward yourself. The goal is growth, not self-criticism. Everyone has areas to improve, and mistakes are part of learning. By treating your thinking as a work in progress rather than a fixed trait, you foster resilience and motivation to keep improving. Incorporate reflection into your daily routine by setting specific times to review your thinking. This might be at the end of each day, week, or after significant decisions. Regular practice builds momentum and turns reflection into a natural part of how you operate mentally. Reflection can also be enhanced by asking powerful questions. Instead of general thoughts, like "how did I do?" ask "what did I learn from this experience?" or "what could I do differently next time?" These questions guide your mind toward deeper insight and practical change. Mindfulness practices support reflective thinking by increasing your awareness of thoughts and feelings as they arise. The more you observe your mental landscape without judgment, the easier it becomes to identify patterns and intervene consciously. This awareness lays the groundwork for meaningful improvement. When you develop the habit of reflection, you become your own best coach. You no longer wait for external circumstances or people to prompt change. Instead, you proactively guide your mental growth with intention and discipline. This self-guided evolution is empowering and sustainable. Reflection reveals the dynamic nature of your mind. Your thinking is not fixed but adaptable. This understanding encourages experimentation with new approaches and openness to continuous learning. It transforms challenges into opportunities to sharpen your mental skills. Sometimes reflection surfaces uncomfortable truths about your biases, fears, or weaknesses. Facing these honestly is uncomfortable but essential. Growth demands willingness to confront and work through discomfort, knowing it leads to greater strength and clarity. Through reflection, you develop mental flexibility. You learn to shift perspectives, consider alternatives, and adjust your thinking as needed. This flexibility makes you more effective in problem-solving and decision-making because you are not rigidly attached to one viewpoint. As you deepen your reflective practice, you'll notice improved clarity in your thinking and better emotional regulation. Decisions become more deliberate and less reactive. You gain confidence because you understand the reasoning behind your choices and the areas you are actively improving. Reflection also sharpens your intuition over time. When you consciously analyze your thinking patterns, you begin to recognize subtle cues and insights that guide you toward better judgments faster. Your mind becomes both analytical and instinctive in balance. One of the greatest benefits of reflecting on your thinking is the cultivation of humility. Recognizing the limits of your knowledge and the potential flaws in your reasoning keeps you open to learning and growth. This humility is not weakness but a sign of mental strength and maturity. Reflection helps you align your thinking with your values and goals. When your mental habits support your deeper intentions, your actions become more coherent and impactful. This alignment fuels motivation and focus. Commit to reflection as a lifelong practice rather than a one-time exercise. Life's challenges and complexities evolve, and so must your thinking. Regular reflection keeps your mind sharp, adaptable, and prepared for whatever comes next. Begin today by setting aside a few moments to honestly review a recent decision or problem. Ask yourself what you did well, what could improve, and what lessons you can carry forward. This simple step starts a powerful cycle of mental growth. Remember, every moment spent reflecting is an investment in your mental clarity and strength. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to recognize improvement areas and take meaningful action. Your thinking evolves from automatic reactions into conscious choices. The ability to reflect on your own thinking is a cornerstone of wisdom. It empowers you to learn from experience, avoid repeated mistakes, and continuously refine your mental processes. This ongoing refinement shapes the foundation for personal and professional success. Embrace reflection not as a chore but as a privilege, the privilege to understand yourself better, to grow intentionally, and to navigate life with greater skill. Your future self will thank you for the time and effort you invest now in honing your mind. In the end, reflective thinking is the pathway to mastery over your own mind. It creates a feedback loop of insight, adjustment, and improvement that propels you forward. The more consistently you engage with your thinking, the clearer and more effective it becomes. Your growth depends on your willingness to see your mind honestly and to act on what you discover. Reflection transforms scattered thoughts into focused intentions, confusion into clarity, and hesitation into confident action. This transformation is the key to unlocking your full potential. Chapter 8. Practice active listening to understand diverse perspectives. True understanding begins when you stop waiting to speak and start genuinely hearing what others have to say. Active listening is not just about hearing words. It is a deliberate effort to connect with different perspectives, to fully grasp the meaning behind what is shared. This practice transforms communication from a simple exchange of information into a powerful tool for growth, empathy, and insight. When you practice active listening, you open your mind to viewpoints that challenge your assumptions and expand your thinking. Every person you encounter carries a unique story shaped by experiences, values, and beliefs. By truly listening, you invite new ideas that can inspire solutions, deepen relationships, and broaden your worldview. Active listening requires more than just silence while someone else talks. It demands full presence, your attention focused entirely on the speaker without distraction or judgment. This means resisting the urge to formulate your response while they are still sharing. Instead, absorb their words, tone, and emotions to understand the complete message. One of the most powerful aspects of active listening is the ability to catch the unspoken. People often communicate through subtle cues, body language, pauses, emphasis, that reveal their true feelings or concerns. Being attentive to these signals allows you to respond with sensitivity and accuracy, building trust and connection. Listening actively also means suspending your biases and refraining from immediately dismissing ideas that differ from your own. When you enter conversations with an open mind, you gain access to fresh perspectives that might solve problems you didn't even realize existed. This openness fosters creativity and innovation. It is common to listen with the goal of winning an argument or proving a point, but such listening is shallow and counterproductive. Genuine understanding requires humility, the willingness to admit you do not know everything and that others might hold valuable insights. This humility enriches your thinking and nurtures collaboration. To practice active listening effectively, develop the habit of asking clarifying questions. When something is unclear, instead of making assumptions, invite the speaker to elaborate. Questions like, "Can you tell me more about that?" or "How did you come to that conclusion?" demonstrate your interest and encourage deeper dialogue. Paraphrasing what you hear is another critical tool. Restating the speaker's message in your own words confirms that you have understood them correctly and shows respect for their perspective. This simple step often reveals nuances that might otherwise be missed. Patience is essential in active listening. People need space to express themselves fully, especially when discussing complex or emotional topics. Allowing silence or moments of reflection demonstrates your willingness to listen without rushing to fill gaps or interrupt. Active listening is a skill that benefits all areas of life. In personal relationships, it creates intimacy and mutual respect. In professional settings, it improves teamwork, problem solving, and leadership. It also cultivates empathy, helping you relate better to people from diverse backgrounds and experiences. Engaging with diverse perspectives through active listening expands your ability to adapt and grow. Exposure to different viewpoints challenges your mental frameworks and encourages critical thinking. It breaks down mental barriers and reduces the tendency toward narrow-mindedness. When you listen actively to someone whose views differ from yours, you don't have to agree, but you gain understanding. This understanding fosters tolerance and can de-escalate conflicts before they escalate. It transforms opposing voices into opportunities for learning rather than threats. The practice of active listening demands conscious effort. It means putting away distractions, silencing inner chatter, and committing your full attention. This dedication signals respect to the speaker and signals your own intention to learn and grow. Reflection after listening enhances the process. Take time to consider what you heard, how it aligns or contrasts with your beliefs, and what lessons you can extract. This reflection solidifies new insights and prepares you to apply them thoughtfully in your life. Active listening is a cornerstone of emotional intelligence. It involves recognizing not only the words spoken, but the feelings behind them. This dual awareness helps you respond with empathy and wisdom, strengthening your influence and relationships. In moments of disagreement, active listening can be transformative. Instead of reacting defensively, it encourages you to seek common ground and understand underlying concerns. This approach turns conflict into constructive dialogue and fosters solutions that respect all parties. Cultivating active listening in yourself inspires others to do the same. Your genuine attention becomes a model that raises the quality of communication around you. It creates a culture where everyone feels valued and heard. Listening to diverse perspectives also enriches your understanding of culture, history, and human experience. It connects you to the richness of humanity beyond your own experience, deepening your compassion and broadening your wisdom. When you listen deeply, you also learn patience with complexity and ambiguity. Not every idea will be simple or comfortable, but embracing complexity leads to better decisions and stronger character. Active listening trains your mind to slow down and observe carefully. This calm attentiveness improves concentration and reduces misunderstandings, allowing you to respond more effectively rather than reacting impulsively. Remember that listening is an act of generosity. It gives others space to express themselves and honors their dignity. This generosity creates bonds that strengthen over time and provide a foundation for mutual support. Even when communication is challenging, whether due to language, culture, or emotion, active listening bridges gaps. It shows your commitment to connection and willingness to meet others where they are. Practice active listening in everyday moments, whether in casual conversations, meetings, or difficult discussions. Approach each interaction as a chance to learn something new. Over time, this consistent effort reshapes your mind and relationships profoundly. Mastering active listening makes you not just a receiver of information, but a participant in meaningful exchange. It transforms communication into a powerful force for growth, understanding, and progress. You hold the power to change the way you relate to others by choosing to listen deeply and openly. This choice fuels your personal development and creates a ripple effect that enriches every corner of your life. As you commit to practicing active listening, notice how your perspective shifts. You become less reactive, more thoughtful, and increasingly able to navigate complexity with grace. The journey to understanding begins with a single act, listening with your full attention and heart. This simple but profound habit opens doors to knowledge, connection, and wisdom beyond measure. Let active listening become your tool for unlocking the richness of diverse perspectives. It will challenge you, inspire you, and ultimately transform the way you engage with the world around you. Chapter 9. Distinguish facts from opinions to improve judgment. Clarity in judgment begins with the simple but powerful skill of separating facts from opinions, because your decisions rely on truth, not assumptions or biases. The ability to tell what is objectively true, apart from what is someone's personal view, is essential for making sound choices that lead to real progress. Without this skill, you risk building your life on shaky ground. Facts are pieces of information that can be verified through evidence, observation, or reliable sources. They are consistent, measurable, and exist independently of what anyone thinks or feels. Opinions, on the other hand, are subjective interpretations, beliefs, or feelings influenced by individual perspectives, emotions, and experiences. Opinions may contain some truth, but they are not absolute and can vary widely. Developing the habit of questioning what you hear or read is crucial to improve your judgment. When confronted with any statement, ask yourself, is this something that can be proven or observed, or is it someone's personal belief? This habit protects you from accepting misinformation or manipulation. In a world overflowing with information, distinguishing facts from opinions becomes even more vital. News, social media, conversations, these channels often mix facts with opinions in ways that make them hard to separate. This confusion leads to misunderstandings, poor decisions, and unnecessary conflict. Recognizing facts requires critical thinking. It means evaluating the source of information, checking for evidence, and verifying details from multiple credible references. If a claim can be tested or measured, it leans toward fact. If it expresses a preference, judgment, or feeling, it falls under opinion. Opinions carry value when understood in context. They reflect personal experiences and values, offering insight into human perspectives. However, when opinions are mistaken for facts, they cloud judgment and hinder clear thinking. It is common to unconsciously accept opinions as facts because they come from trusted sources or because they align with what we want to believe. Awareness of this tendency is the first step to breaking free from it. Being honest with yourself about the difference sharpens your mind and keeps you grounded. When you encounter a strong statement, try to separate the observable reality from the emotional or subjective language. For example, hearing "this product is the best ever" is an opinion, but this product has a 90% satisfaction rate based on customer surveys is a fact. Spotting these differences helps you weigh information more effectively. Emotional appeals often blur the line between fact and opinion. Marketing, politics, and debates frequently use language designed to provoke feelings and sway judgment. Developing the discipline to pause and analyze such messages prevents impulsive reactions driven by emotion rather than truth. The process of distinguishing facts from opinions sharpens your ability to think independently. It guards against herd mentality and groupthink by encouraging you to verify before accepting. This intellectual independence is key to building confidence in your decisions. Improving judgment also means recognizing when opinions are presented as facts. Watch for statements that use absolute terms like always, never, or everyone without backing evidence. These are often signs of opinions dressed as facts to persuade or manipulate. Learning to identify biases in yourself and others strengthens this skill further. Everyone has blind spots influenced by culture, upbringing, and personal history. Understanding these biases helps you see when opinions are being colored by subjective factors rather than objective truth. When you face complex situations, gather facts first before letting opinions influence your conclusions. The facts form the foundation upon which thoughtful opinions can be constructed. Without a firm grasp of facts, your judgment remains vulnerable to error and confusion. The clarity gained from distinguishing facts and opinions leads to better problem solving. You can assess situations with accuracy, make informed choices, and communicate clearly. This clarity is a powerful asset in every area of life: career, relationships, personal growth. This skill also empowers you to engage in discussions with greater effectiveness. Instead of reacting emotionally or accepting claims blindly, you contribute by highlighting facts and questioning assumptions. This approach raises the quality of dialogue and fosters mutual understanding. Practice this skill daily by reflecting on the information you consume. Challenge yourself to label statements as fact or opinion and seek evidence for the facts. Over time, this habit becomes natural and transforms your thinking patterns. In moments of uncertainty, remind yourself that strong opinions do not equate to truth. Being comfortable with questioning and verifying keeps your mind open and sharp. It prevents rash judgments and promotes patience in seeking clarity. Distinguishing facts from opinions is not about cynicism or disbelief. It is about intellectual honesty and rigor. It means valuing truth over convenience and being willing to change your views based on solid evidence. As you master this skill, you develop resilience against misinformation and manipulation. You become a critical consumer of information who does not accept claims at face value but investigates thoroughly. This resilience is crucial in an age of constant information bombardment. This clarity in judgment also supports personal integrity. When your decisions are grounded in truth rather than bias or assumption, you build trust with yourself and others. Your choices become consistent, rational, and reliable. Remember that opinions can be useful guides when informed by facts. They express values, preferences, and insights that facts alone cannot provide. The key is to balance opinions with evidence, using facts as the anchor for your thinking. When you struggle to distinguish facts from opinions, seek multiple perspectives and trusted sources. Cross-checking information reduces the risk of error and deepens your understanding. It also protects you from echo chambers that reinforce unexamined opinions. This practice enhances your ability to communicate clearly and persuasively. When you present facts transparently and acknowledge opinions honestly, you build credibility and respect. Others will be more willing to listen and engage with your point of view. Cultivating this distinction also strengthens your emotional intelligence. You learn to recognize when others express opinions shaped by their feelings and when they share verifiable information. This awareness fosters empathy and improves interactions. In leadership, the ability to separate facts from opinions is invaluable. Decisions that affect others must be based on reality, not personal bias or hearsay. Leaders who master this skill inspire confidence and create environments where truth is prioritized. Avoid the trap of confirmation bias, seeking only facts that support your existing opinions. True judgment requires openness to facts that challenge your beliefs and willingness to revise your views accordingly. This openness fuels growth and wisdom. This skill is not learned overnight, but through consistent practice and reflection. Commit to questioning, verifying, and distinguishing every day. Over time, your judgment will become clearer, sharper, and more dependable. By honing the ability to separate facts from opinions, you protect yourself from errors that could derail your goals. You make choices rooted in reality, and that foundation empowers success and fulfillment. The power to judge wisely rests in your hands. Choose to ground your decisions in truth and clarity. Build a mindset that honors evidence, questions assumptions, and respects the difference between what is real and what is believed. Your capacity to distinguish facts from opinions will transform how you think, decide, and live. It will free you from confusion, strengthen your resolve, and guide you to make choices that reflect reality and serve your highest purpose. Step into the strength that comes from clarity of judgment. Let truth be your guide, and watch how your life unfolds with greater confidence and success. Chapter 10. Break problems into smaller parts for easier analysis. Every massive challenge hides within it a series of smaller, manageable steps, and mastering the art of breaking problems down is the key to turning overwhelming obstacles into clear, solvable puzzles. When you face a problem that feels too big or complicated, your mind can freeze, trapped by confusion or fear. But by dissecting that problem into smaller parts, you bring clarity where there was chaos. You transform a mountain into a series of hills, each climbable with focus and purpose. Breaking a problem into parts is not just a technique, it's a mindset shift that empowers you to tackle complexity with confidence. Instead of being paralyzed by the enormity of the task, you gain control by focusing on one piece at a time. This approach prevents frustration and keeps your energy directed toward constructive action rather than scattered worry. When you look at a problem, start by identifying its components. Every issue, no matter how tangled, consists of interconnected elements. These elements might be steps, causes, effects, or related factors. By naming and separating these elements, you gain a roadmap that guides your thinking and your actions. It's easy to overlook the power of this practice because many people rush to solve problems by attacking them all at once. This leads to haphazard efforts, wasted energy, and often failure. By slowing down and breaking the problem into parts, you create space to understand each piece fully and make better decisions. Consider a complex goal, like starting a business or improving your health. Instead of focusing only on the big picture, break it down into smaller goals. Planning finances, marketing, product development, and customer service for a business, or nutrition, exercise, sleep, and stress management for health. Each smaller goal becomes achievable, measurable, and less intimidating. Once you've divided the problem, you can analyze each part separately. This allows you to identify the root causes of difficulties, assess resources needed, and anticipate obstacles. When each piece is clear, you can prioritize what requires immediate attention and what can wait, making your efforts more strategic and effective. This approach also enhances creativity. When you focus on smaller sections, your brain can generate specific solutions tailored to each part. You can experiment with different methods and adjust without feeling overwhelmed by the entire problem at once. By taking small steps, you build momentum. Every small victory boosts your confidence and motivation, making it easier to continue progressing. Instead of being stuck in doubt or procrastination, you experience the satisfaction of continuous forward movement. Breaking problems into parts also improves communication. When you discuss an issue with others, explaining it in smaller pieces helps them understand clearly and contribute meaningfully. Complex challenges can be shared and solved collaboratively, creating synergy and collective strength. This practice trains your mind to think systematically. You develop the habit of dissecting challenges methodically rather than reacting impulsively. This discipline carries over into every area of life, improving decision-making and problem-solving skills beyond the immediate issue. It's important to remember that the goal is not to simplify problems so much that you lose sight of the whole, but to create manageable segments that fit together to reveal the bigger picture. Keep an eye on how the pieces interact and adjust your approach as you gather more information and insight. When a problem feels overwhelming, remind yourself that no mountain is climbed in a single leap. Break the climb into steps, focus on the next step ahead, and trust the process. This mindset turns obstacles into opportunities for growth. Avoid the temptation to rush or skip steps. Each smaller part deserves your attention and effort. Skipping ahead often leads to mistakes or missed details that can cause setbacks. Precision and patience at each stage build a stronger foundation for success. Sometimes breaking a problem down reveals that what seemed complex is actually simpler than expected. Other times, it exposes hidden challenges that must be addressed first. Either way, this clarity prevents wasted effort and leads to more efficient solutions. When analyzing each part, ask yourself specific questions. What exactly needs to be done here? What resources are required? What are the potential risks? Who can help? These focused inquiries deepen your understanding and prepare you for action. This method also cultivates resilience. When faced with setbacks, you can revisit individual parts and identify where adjustments are needed without losing sight of the entire goal. This flexibility keeps you moving forward even when challenges arise. Remember that breaking problems into parts does not mean isolating yourself. Share your breakdown with mentors, peers, or teams to get feedback and alternative perspectives. Collaboration often reveals aspects you might have missed and accelerates finding solutions. In practice, this skill can transform how you approach everyday difficulties and major life decisions alike. It empowers you to face uncertainty with a clear mind and steady resolve. Practice this regularly by taking any challenge you encounter and consciously breaking it into pieces. Write down the parts, analyze them, and plan your next moves. This routine builds a strong problem-solving muscle that you can rely on anytime. By embracing this approach, you reclaim control over situations that once felt unmanageable. You replace overwhelm with clarity, confusion with order, and hesitation with decisive action. The power to solve problems effectively lies in your ability to organize and simplify. Breaking problems into smaller parts is the master key that unlocks this power. Every problem is a puzzle waiting to be solved. Piece by piece, step by step, you can dismantle even the most intimidating challenges. Let this skill become your ally in the journey toward mastery over your life and circumstances. It will open doors to opportunities and victories that seemed out of reach. Remember, greatness is not achieved by giant leaps alone, but by consistent, deliberate steps forward. Breaking problems down is the first step toward turning your dreams into reality. Chapter 11. Seek feedback regularly to sharpen your reasoning skills. If you want to sharpen your reasoning skills and become truly unstoppable, you must embrace one essential truth. Seeking feedback is not a sign of weakness. It is the fuel for your growth. Without regular feedback, your thinking becomes trapped in a loop of assumptions and blind spots. Feedback is the mirror that reflects your reasoning back to you with clarity, revealing what works, what doesn't, and where you can improve. The most successful thinkers and problem solvers don't rely solely on their own judgment. They actively reach out to others, inviting critique and insight, knowing that honest feedback is the only way to refine their ideas and challenge their perspectives. Feedback breaks down the walls of isolation that limit your growth and pushes you beyond your current level of understanding. Imagine trying to improve your skills without ever knowing how others perceive your work. It's like navigating in the dark, hoping you're moving in the right direction, but without any confirmation. Feedback lights up the path ahead, providing guidance that helps you correct course before mistakes become costly or habits become entrenched. But seeking feedback isn't just about asking for praise or validation. It requires courage to hear uncomfortable truths and humility to accept them without defensiveness. When you embrace feedback as a tool for learning, you transform criticism from a threat into an opportunity. Each piece of feedback becomes a stepping stone to better reasoning and sharper judgment. To gain the most from feedback, be deliberate about whom you ask. Choose people who challenge your thinking, who offer different viewpoints, and who have the experience or knowledge relevant to the areas where you want to improve. Surrounding yourself with diverse perspectives prevents echo chambers, and expands your ability to analyze problems from multiple angles. Regularity in seeking feedback is crucial. Occasional feedback is helpful, but continuous engagement ensures you are constantly refining your mental processes. This steady flow of input allows you to notice patterns in your thinking, identify recurring errors, and develop new strategies for problem solving. Approach feedback with specific questions rather than vague requests. Instead of asking, "What do you think?" focus on areas like, "How can I improve my logic in this argument?" or "Are there any assumptions I'm overlooking here?" Specificity invites targeted responses that are more actionable and meaningful. Don't limit yourself to verbal feedback alone. Written feedback, performance reviews, or even reflective journaling on others' critiques provide valuable records you can revisit. Reflecting on feedback over time helps you track your progress and solidify lessons learned. Remember that feedback also helps you understand how your reasoning appears to others. Sometimes your thought process may seem clear and logical to you, but others might see gaps or unclear connections. Feedback bridges this gap between your internal logic and external perception. When receiving feedback, listen actively. Resist the urge to interrupt or defend yourself immediately. Instead, focus fully on understanding the message. Clarify if needed, but keep your mindset open and curious. The goal is to learn, not to justify. Integrate the feedback thoughtfully into your reasoning practice. Experiment with suggested changes and observe their effects. Adjust your approach based on what works best, recognizing that improvement is an ongoing journey rather than a one-time fix. Feedback is also a two-way street. As you become more skilled at reasoning, offer constructive feedback to others. Teaching and critiquing others sharpens your own abilities and reinforces a culture of growth and mutual support. It's important to differentiate between useful feedback and noise. Not every opinion will serve your purpose. Develop discernment to filter feedback based on credibility, relevance, and alignment with your goals. Learn to appreciate feedback that challenges you constructively while ignoring distractions. Sometimes, feedback may reveal uncomfortable truths about your weaknesses or mistakes. Instead of shrinking from this reality, face it head-on. These moments of discomfort are where real growth happens. The more willing you are to confront flaws, the stronger and more agile your reasoning becomes. The process of seeking feedback also builds resilience. You learn to separate your self-worth from your ideas or actions, understanding that criticism is about improvement, not personal attack. This mindset frees you to take risks, try new approaches, and innovate without fear of failure. Keep a feedback journal to track recurring themes and insights. Writing down feedback helps you internalize lessons and observe how your reasoning evolves. Over time, you'll see patterns in your thinking habits and identify areas that need continuous attention. Engaging in feedback regularly also fosters humility. It reminds you that no matter how skilled you become, there is always room to learn and grow. This humility is the hallmark of great thinkers who remain curious and open throughout their lives. Feedback cultivates clarity in your thought process. When others question your reasoning, you are forced to articulate and defend your ideas clearly. This practice strengthens your ability to communicate complex thoughts effectively and persuasively. In a world overflowing with information and opinions, feedback helps you sift through noise and focus on what truly matters. It anchors your reasoning in reality and prevents you from drifting into biased or faulty conclusions. As you seek feedback more consistently, you develop a mental agility that allows you to pivot quickly when new information emerges. This flexibility keeps your problem-solving skills sharp and relevant, no matter how complex or dynamic the challenges you face. Ultimately, feedback is a powerful catalyst for intellectual growth and self-mastery. It transforms your reasoning from a static skill into a dynamic, evolving strength. When you invite feedback into your life, you create a feedback loop of continuous improvement that propels you forward relentlessly. The journey to sharpen your reasoning through feedback is never-ending. Embrace it with enthusiasm, knowing that each insight you gain builds your capacity to think clearly, act wisely, and succeed consistently. Your commitment to seeking and applying feedback will distinguish you as someone who not only thinks deeply, but also grows relentlessly. This is the edge that sets you apart and moves you toward mastery in all areas of life. Let feedback be your guide, your challenge, and your greatest ally on the path to sharper, stronger reasoning every single day. Chapter 12. Use thoughtful questioning to explore complex issues deeply. If you want to truly master any challenge, never settle for surface answers. Dig deeper with thoughtful questioning. This is the secret to unlocking complexity and transforming confusion into clarity. When you ask the right questions, you ignite a chain reaction of discovery that reveals hidden layers, exposes assumptions, and sparks breakthrough insights. Thoughtful questioning is more than just curiosity. It is a disciplined practice that drives your mind beyond simple conclusions and into profound understanding. Complex issues rarely yield their truths quickly or easily. They require patience, precision, and the willingness to explore beneath appearances. The questions you pose shape the quality of your thinking and determine how far you can push your problem-solving abilities. Begin by resisting the urge to accept quick fixes or easy explanations. Instead, train yourself to probe gently but persistently. Ask why multiple times, peeling back each answer like layers of an onion. This repetitive inquiry uncovers root causes rather than just symptoms. When you discover the foundation of a problem, you gain the power to address it effectively rather than merely treating its effects. It's also essential to question your own beliefs and biases. Challenging your assumptions keeps your thinking honest and flexible. When you examine why you hold certain views, you expose gaps in logic or emotional triggers that may cloud judgment. Thoughtful questioning becomes a tool of self-awareness as much as analysis. Focus your questions on understanding relationships and consequences. Ask how different parts of an issue connect and influence one another. Consider the ripple effects of potential decisions. This approach reveals the system behind the problem and prepares you to craft solutions that are balanced and sustainable. Never hesitate to ask what if to explore possibilities beyond the obvious. Imagining alternative scenarios stretches your thinking and reveals opportunities or risks that others might miss. This kind of questioning fosters creativity and innovation because it encourages you to think broadly without fear of judgment. Adopt an open mindset that welcomes complexity instead of fearing it. Complex problems often feel overwhelming because they have many moving parts and uncertain outcomes. Thoughtful questioning helps you break down complexity into manageable inquiries. Each question becomes a stepping stone that brings order to chaos. Cultivate patience as you question deeply. It takes time to formulate meaningful questions and listen carefully to the answers, whether from others or from your own reflections. Rushing this process leads to shallow conclusions and missed insights. Give yourself the space to sit with uncertainty and explore all angles thoroughly. Use questions to engage others in meaningful dialogue. When you pose thoughtful inquiries to colleagues, mentors, or friends, you invite collaboration and diverse perspectives. Collective questioning expands your understanding and prevents tunnel vision. It creates a learning environment where complex issues can be examined from multiple viewpoints. Pay attention to the language you use in your questions. Open-ended questions that start with how, why, or what encourage explanation and reflection, while closed questions often limit responses to yes or no. The right wording can unlock deeper conversations and richer insights. Be aware of questions that lead or bias the answers. Thoughtful questioning strives for neutrality and clarity. Avoid framing questions that presuppose certain outcomes or judgments. Your goal is to explore honestly and comprehensively, not to confirm preconceived ideas. Reflect on the answers you receive. Thoughtful questioning doesn't stop with asking. It continues with active listening and critical evaluation of the responses. Compare different answers, seek evidence, and assess the reliability of sources. This reflection strengthens your analytical skills and deepens your understanding. As you practice this skill, you'll notice your capacity for critical thinking improving. You become more adept at identifying contradictions, spotting logical fallacies, and discerning meaningful patterns. Your decisions gain precision because they are grounded in well-examined information. Thoughtful questioning also guards against complacency. When you regularly challenge the status quo and explore complexities, you refuse to settle for easy or incomplete solutions. This mindset drives continuous improvement and innovation, whether in personal growth, business, or problem solving. Never underestimate the power of a single well-crafted question. One question can change the trajectory of your thinking, reveal overlooked facts, or open new doors. Learning to formulate these questions is a skill that multiplies your intellectual effectiveness exponentially. The practice of questioning helps you navigate ambiguity with confidence. Complex issues rarely have clear-cut answers. Instead of feeling stuck or frustrated, you learn to embrace ambiguity as a natural part of problem solving. Thoughtful questions guide you through uncertainty and keep your mind engaged. Remember that every question you ask shapes the direction of your inquiry. Be intentional about your questioning strategy. Start broad to gather context, then narrow your focus to specifics. This structured approach leads to comprehensive insights and actionable conclusions. Use questioning to connect facts and ideas. Often, the key to understanding complex problems lies in seeing how different pieces fit together. Questions that encourage comparison, contrast, and synthesis help you build a coherent picture from scattered information. When faced with particularly thorny issues, break your questions into smaller parts. Address one aspect at a time to avoid overwhelm and maintain clarity. This step-by-step questioning mirrors the problem-solving process and helps you uncover details that might otherwise go unnoticed. Incorporate questions that challenge existing frameworks. Sometimes, the biggest breakthroughs come from questioning the rules, definitions, or boundaries that shape a problem. Re-examining these foundations can reveal new paths and solutions previously hidden. Engage in regular practice of thoughtful questioning to keep your mind sharp. Like any skill, it improves with use. Make it a habit to question assumptions, decisions, and conclusions in your daily life. This discipline transforms your approach to challenges and decision-making. This practice also fosters humility and curiosity. Recognizing that complex problems require ongoing questioning reminds you that knowledge is never complete. There is always more to learn, understand, and explore. This humility fuels a lifelong commitment to growth. Finally, thoughtful questioning empowers you to move beyond confusion and overwhelm into clarity and action. It equips you to dissect complexity with precision and confidence, enabling you to craft solutions that are deep, informed, and effective. When you harness this power, no problem remains too complex to solve. Mastering thoughtful questioning sets you apart as a thinker who dives beneath the surface and uncovers truth with relentless determination. It elevates your problem-solving skills and transforms how you approach challenges in every area of your life. Commit to this practice now and watch how your ability to explore complex issues deeply reshapes your thinking, your decisions, and your results. The power to unlock clarity lies in the questions you choose to ask. Chapter 13. Prioritize clarity in communication to avoid misunderstandings. Clear communication is the foundation upon which every meaningful connection and success is built. Without it, confusion thrives and progress stalls. If you want to avoid unnecessary conflict, wasted time, and costly mistakes, you must make clarity your top priority whenever you speak, write, or share ideas. Clarity isn't just about choosing the right words, it's about structuring your message in a way that leaves no room for misinterpretation. When you communicate clearly, you create understanding, trust, and alignment, allowing everyone involved to move forward confidently and effectively. The first step toward mastering clear communication is to understand your own message fully before trying to convey it. If your ideas are fuzzy or scattered in your own mind, they will inevitably come out unclear to others. Take time to organize your thoughts. Identify the core point you want to express and build your message around that center. This intentional focus prevents you from overwhelming your audience with unnecessary details or digressions. Simplicity is a powerful ally in clarity. Complex language or jargon can obscure meaning and alienate listeners. Aim to use straightforward words and concise sentences. Clear communication doesn't mean dumbed down or superficial, it means precise and accessible. Your goal is to bridge understanding, not to impress with complicated vocabulary. Be mindful of the context in which your communication takes place. Tailor your language to fit your audience's background, knowledge level, and expectations. What might be obvious to you could be confusing to someone else. Anticipate potential areas of confusion and address them proactively by providing examples, definitions, or clarifications when necessary. Non-verbal elements, tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language also play a critical role in how your message is received. Consistency between your words and non-verbal cues reinforces clarity. Mixed signals create doubt and misunderstandings. Pay attention to how you deliver your message and adjust your expressions to match your intention. Active listening supports clarity just as much as clear speaking. When you engage with others, listen carefully to their responses and questions. Their feedback can reveal whether your message was understood as you intended. If confusion arises, address it immediately by rephrasing or elaborating. Communication is a two-way process. Clarity requires that both sender and receiver are aligned. Avoid assumptions about shared knowledge. Never presume others know what you know or understand your references. When you introduce concepts or use terms that may be unfamiliar, take a moment to explain them. This prevents misunderstandings born from different levels of expertise or experience. Structure your communication logically. Begin with a clear introduction of your main idea, followed by supporting details, and end with a concise summary or call to action. A well-organized message guides the listener through your thought process step by step, reducing the chance of confusion or misinterpretation. Pause frequently to check for understanding. In conversations or presentations, ask questions to gauge whether your audience is following along. Encourage them to share their interpretation of what you said. This creates an opportunity to correct misunderstandings early and refine your communication approach. Written communication demands extra attention to clarity because you lose the benefit of immediate feedback from tone or body language. Reread your messages before sending. Edit out ambiguous phrases and unclear pronouns. Use formatting tools such as bullet points or numbered lists to highlight key points and improve readability. When emotions run high, clarity becomes even more vital. Stress, frustration, or excitement can cloud judgment and lead to rushed or careless communication. In these moments, slow down. Take a breath, collect your thoughts, and choose your words deliberately. Clear communication in tense situations diffuses conflict rather than escalating it. Beware of overloading your message with too much information at once. Even with clarity, too many details can overwhelm and distract. Focus on the essentials first. Additional information can follow once the foundation is solid. This staged approach helps your audience absorb and process your message effectively. Clarity also means being honest and transparent. Avoid vague statements or ambiguous promises. If you don't know the answer, say so instead of guessing. Clear communication builds credibility because it shows respect for the truth and for the listener's need for reliable information. Practice humility by inviting questions and encouraging dialogue. When you foster an environment where others feel safe to ask for clarification, you create stronger connections and prevent misunderstandings before they grow. This openness also sharpens your communication skills over time. Recognize that clarity is a skill that demands continuous effort and refinement. Pay attention to past miscommunications and learn from them. Reflect on what caused confusion and how you can communicate better next time. With practice, clarity becomes second nature. In group settings, clarity prevents the telephone game effect where messages get distorted as they pass through multiple people. Take responsibility for ensuring that your message is conveyed clearly at every step. Summarize key points regularly and confirm mutual understanding to keep everyone aligned. Technology can both help and hinder clarity. Emails, texts, and social media lack tone and immediate feedback, increasing the risk of misunderstanding. Use clear language and avoid sarcasm or irony that might not translate well in writing. When possible, follow up with verbal communication to clarify important matters. Effective communicators also consider timing. Deliver messages at the right moment when the listener is receptive and focused. Poor timing can obscure even the clearest message. Be mindful of interruptions, distractions, and emotional states that could interfere with understanding. By prioritizing clarity, you reduce the need for repeated explanations and corrections. This efficiency saves time and energy for everyone involved. When communication flows smoothly, collaboration improves, decisions are made faster, and goals are reached more easily. Clarity strengthens leadership as well. Leaders who communicate transparently inspire trust and motivate action. Their clear vision guides teams through complexity and uncertainty. They set expectations that are understood and achievable, reducing frustration and increasing accountability. Ultimately, clarity is an act of respect. It honors the time, intelligence, and effort of those you communicate with. When you strive for clarity, you demonstrate that you value connection and shared understanding above all else. Commit to making clarity the cornerstone of every conversation, every message, every interaction. Let it guide your words and actions so you become a beacon of understanding in a world filled with noise and confusion. With clarity as your foundation, you build bridges, unlock potential, and create powerful momentum toward your goals. Chapter 14. Develop intellectual humility to embrace learning opportunities. True strength lies not in knowing all the answers, but in having the courage to admit what you don't know and the hunger to learn more. Developing intellectual humility is the gateway to growth because it frees you from the chains of ego and opens your mind to new ideas, perspectives, and possibilities. When you embrace the reality that your current knowledge is limited, you set yourself on a path toward continuous improvement and deeper understanding. Most people mistake humility for weakness, but it is one of the most powerful traits a person can cultivate. Intellectual humility is not about diminishing yourself or doubting your abilities. It is about recognizing that no matter how much you know, there is always more to discover, and that your beliefs may be challenged or refined by new evidence or experiences. This mindset allows you to approach life with curiosity rather than defensiveness. To develop intellectual humility, start by reflecting honestly on your own limitations. Ask yourself where your knowledge gaps lie, and be willing to confront them without shame. This self-awareness is a crucial step in shifting from a fixed mindset to one that embraces learning and adaptability. When you accept that you can be wrong or uninformed, you stop fearing mistakes and start seeing them as opportunities. A significant barrier to intellectual humility is the need to be right or to protect your identity tied to your opinions. Letting go of this need requires strength. It means prioritizing truth and growth over ego gratification. When you encounter ideas that contradict your beliefs, instead of reacting with immediate rejection or anger, pause and consider the possibility that these new perspectives might hold value. This openness doesn't weaken your position, it strengthens it by grounding it in reality. Seeking out feedback and criticism is a direct way to practice humility. Rather than avoiding uncomfortable truths, welcome them as gifts that can sharpen your thinking. Constructive criticism highlights blind spots you wouldn't notice on your own. Respond to feedback with gratitude instead of defensiveness, and use it as a tool for self-improvement. Over time, this habit transforms your mindset to one of growth and resilience. Surround yourself with diverse viewpoints. Engaging with people who think differently challenges your assumptions and broadens your intellectual horizon. It encourages empathy and understanding of complexity beyond your personal experience. When you expose yourself to contrasting opinions without judgment, you build mental flexibility and deepen your capacity for nuanced thinking. Curiosity fuels intellectual humility. Instead of fearing the unknown, cultivate a genuine desire to explore it. Ask questions that dig beneath the surface. Wonder why things are the way they are, and seek evidence rather than accepting easy answers. This inquisitive attitude propels you toward wisdom and innovation. Recognize that intellectual humility also means admitting when you don't have the answers immediately. It's okay to say, "I need to learn more about this," or "I'm not sure, but I will find out." Such admissions demonstrate confidence rather than weakness because they show you are committed to truth over appearances. Avoid the trap of confirmation bias, which is the tendency to seek out information that only supports your existing beliefs. Intellectual humility requires you to confront data and arguments that challenge your views, even if they are uncomfortable. This willingness to test your ideas against reality leads to more accurate judgment and better decision-making. Developing intellectual humility also means being patient with the learning process. Growth rarely happens overnight. It involves trial and error, repeated practice, and gradual refinement. Accepting this slow progress keeps you motivated and prevents frustration when you face setbacks or confusion. Stay vigilant against arrogance disguised as confidence. True confidence comes from competence coupled with humility, not from arrogance or dismissiveness. When you act as if you have all the answers, you close doors to new knowledge. Intellectual humility keeps those doors open wide. Make a habit of reading broadly and deeply. Books, articles, and conversations expose you to new information and perspectives. They challenge your assumptions and spark fresh ideas. Consuming diverse content feeds your mind with complexity and depth, fostering humility by reminding you how much there is to learn. Practice mindfulness to observe your thoughts and reactions. Notice when you feel defensive or certain without questioning. These moments are clues to where intellectual humility is needed. By becoming aware of your mental habits, you gain control over them and can choose openness over rigidity. Remember that intellectual humility doesn't mean passivity. It is an active stance of engagement with ideas and the world. It drives you to ask better questions, seek deeper understanding, and make more informed choices. This active curiosity fuels personal and professional success. By embracing intellectual humility, you transform challenges into stepping stones. Each time you encounter a problem or contradiction, you see it as a chance to learn rather than a threat to your ego. This shift changes how you interact with others, how you solve problems, and how you grow. Cultivating this mindset also improves your relationships. People naturally trust and respect those who listen openly and admit when they don't know something. Intellectual humility fosters collaboration and shared learning rather than competition and conflict. In times of uncertainty and rapid change, intellectual humility becomes even more essential. It equips you to adapt, rethink, and innovate rather than cling stubbornly to outdated ideas. This flexibility is a critical advantage in any field or life situation. Ultimately, intellectual humility is a lifelong commitment. It requires ongoing effort to challenge your assumptions, welcome new knowledge, and stay curious. By making humility a daily practice, you unlock a powerful source of wisdom and strength that propels you forward with grace and confidence. When you embrace your limitations honestly and seek to expand your understanding continuously, you prove to yourself that growth is always possible. This mindset not only sharpens your intellect, but also enriches your character and opens the door to profound learning experiences throughout your life. Chapter 15. Identify emotional influences that distort your reasoning. Your mind is your most powerful tool, but it becomes dangerous the moment emotions hijack your reasoning. Recognizing how feelings cloud judgment is the first step toward reclaiming clarity and making decisions that serve your true goals. Too often, emotions like fear, anger, or attachment distort how we perceive reality, leading us to choices that don't align with our best interests. Becoming aware of these emotional influences is not a sign of weakness, it's a mark of wisdom and strength. Emotions are essential. They color our experiences and motivate us, but they also have the potential to warp how we analyze situations. When emotions dominate, they hijack logical thought and lead to biased conclusions. For example, anxiety can make problems appear far worse than they actually are, pushing you toward panic or avoidance rather than productive action. Anger might cloud your view of others' intentions, causing you to jump to conclusions or lash out unnecessarily. Even positive emotions like excitement or attachment can cause you to overlook critical flaws or risks. The first step in identifying emotional interference is to develop honest self-awareness. Pay close attention to how you feel as you face decisions or challenges. Ask yourself, am I reacting based on facts, or am I influenced by feelings that might be distorting the situation? Often, Emotions feel urgent and convincing, making it hard to distinguish them from reality. But with practice, you can learn to separate emotional responses from objective evaluation. One technique is to pause before making important choices and simply acknowledge your current emotional state. Label your feelings clearly: fear, frustration, eagerness, or sadness. Naming emotions reduces their power over you and helps create mental space for more balanced thinking. This moment of pause is a powerful tool for regaining control and seeing the situation more clearly. Another common emotional trap is confirmation bias, where your feelings push you to seek information that supports what you already want to believe. When emotionally charged, your mind selectively filters facts, ignoring anything that challenges your current viewpoint. This distorts reality and blocks growth. To counteract this, actively seek opposing perspectives or evidence that questions your assumptions. This challenges emotional filters and strengthens your reasoning. Emotional influences also affect how you interpret others' behavior. When you're upset or stressed, you may misread neutral actions as hostile or dismissive. This creates unnecessary conflict and weakens relationships. Recognizing this tendency helps you respond more calmly and with greater empathy. Before reacting, consider alternative explanations and check whether your emotions might be coloring your interpretation. Understanding that your brain's chemistry is deeply intertwined with emotions explains why reasoning can feel compromised. Stress hormones, for example, reduce activity in areas of the brain responsible for logic and impulse control. This biological response makes emotional hijacking not just a mental issue, but a physical one. Knowing this empowers you to develop strategies to calm your nervous system through deep breathing, mindfulness, or physical movement to restore clearer thinking. Avoid letting strong emotions push you into immediate action. Acting impulsively when emotionally charged often leads to regret. Instead, commit to a deliberate process, recognize your feelings, pause, gather facts, and then decide. This sequence rebalances emotion and reason and leads to better outcomes. Journaling is a practical tool to track how emotions influence your decisions. Writing down what you feel before and after making choices reveals patterns of emotional distortion. Over time, this record becomes a guide to spotting triggers and learning how to respond differently. Reflection builds emotional intelligence, which is vital for sharp reasoning. Sometimes, emotions are tied to deeper beliefs or past experiences that shape your worldview. Identifying these roots helps you understand why certain topics trigger strong feelings. Awareness of these underlying factors allows you to question automatic emotional reactions and opens the door to more rational judgment. You also have to recognize the role of emotional fatigue. When tired or overwhelmed, your ability to reason logically diminishes. Emotional exhaustion lowers your threshold for stress, making it easier for feelings to overpower thought. Prioritizing rest and self-care improves your mental resilience and keeps emotions from hijacking your decision-making process. Accountability partners or trusted friends provide valuable external perspectives to catch emotional distortions you might miss. Sharing your thought process with others invites feedback and often reveals blind spots created by emotions. Honest dialogue grounds your thinking and reinforces clarity. Remember that emotional intelligence and intellectual reasoning are not opposing forces, they complement each other. The goal is not to eliminate emotions, but to integrate them with rational analysis. Emotions provide important data about your values and priorities, while reasoning helps you process this data effectively. By training yourself to recognize when emotions distort your reasoning, you transform your decision-making from reactive to deliberate. This shift builds confidence and reduces anxiety because you know you can handle situations thoughtfully, regardless of how you feel. This awareness also protects you from manipulation. Others often use emotional triggers to influence decisions for their benefit. When you understand your own emotional landscape, you become less susceptible to external pressure or impulsive choices driven by emotion rather than logic. Developing this skill requires patience and consistent practice. It involves learning to sit with uncomfortable feelings without immediately reacting and building habits that strengthen mental clarity. Over time, you'll find that your judgments become more balanced, your decisions more effective, and your emotional life more stable. Your ability to identify and manage emotional influences is a cornerstone of wisdom and self-mastery. It enables you to approach challenges with a clear mind, to communicate with greater honesty, and to live with integrity. This clarity turns obstacles into opportunities and chaos into calm. No matter how intense your feelings become, you have the power to step back and observe them rather than be overwhelmed. This inner space allows reason to guide your choices and ensures that your actions align with your long-term goals rather than momentary impulses. Embracing this truth is a profound act of personal responsibility. It means refusing to be a slave to your emotions and instead becoming their master. This mastery brings freedom, the freedom to think clearly, decide wisely, and live intentionally. Every time you identify an emotional influence that distorts your reasoning and choose to see beyond it, you strengthen your mental muscles. You prove to yourself that clarity is possible even in the midst of strong feelings. This practice shapes you into a person who commands respect, not because you are perfect, but because you are conscious. When you learn to recognize and understand your emotional landscape, you build a foundation for better judgment, deeper insight, and lasting peace of mind. This ability is not just a skill but a gift you give yourself, a daily commitment to living thoughtfully and powerfully. Chapter 16. Balance skepticism and open-mindedness for better decisions. True wisdom lies in walking the fine line between doubt and belief, knowing when to question everything and when to embrace new ideas with openness. Balancing skepticism with open-mindedness is not a sign of indecision. It is the hallmark of a sharp mind that refuses to settle for half-truths, but also refuses to close doors prematurely. Every decision we make demands this delicate equilibrium, or else we risk falling into either naive gullibility or paralyzing cynicism. Skepticism sharpens the mind by demanding evidence, consistency, and logic before accepting claims. It protects you from deception and poor judgment by insisting on proof rather than blind faith. Without this critical questioning, you leave yourself vulnerable to manipulation, errors, and wasted effort. However, excessive skepticism can harden into rigidity, where every new idea is met with immediate rejection, stalling growth and innovation. On the other hand, open-mindedness invites fresh perspectives and possibilities that skepticism might otherwise dismiss. It fuels curiosity and adaptation, qualities essential for navigating complexity and uncertainty. An open mind allows you to explore unfamiliar viewpoints, consider alternative solutions, and evolve your thinking in light of new evidence. But unbridled openness without discernment risks swallowing falsehoods or distractions, diluting your focus and clarity. The challenge, then, is to cultivate a mindset that welcomes new information while maintaining a healthy dose of doubt, a mindset that questions but also listens. This balance creates a dynamic process of discovery rather than a static posture of acceptance or denial. To practice this balance, start by recognizing your initial reaction when faced with new information. Do you instinctively accept it without question, or do you reject it outright? Awareness of this tendency is crucial. Most people lean strongly toward one side or the other, often influenced by past experiences or emotional biases. By noticing this, you can begin to adjust your approach consciously. Next, train yourself to pause before forming a judgment. During this pause, gather relevant facts and context. Ask yourself, what evidence supports this claim? What evidence contradicts it? Are the sources trustworthy? This step strengthens skepticism, but it must be followed by genuine consideration. Ask, could I be wrong? What if this perspective is valid? What assumptions am I making? This opens the door to open-mindedness. Embrace intellectual humility as the foundation for this balance. Understand that no matter how much you know, there is always more to learn, and that your current beliefs might be incomplete or flawed. This humility protects you from arrogance and makes it easier to entertain differing views without defensiveness. Be mindful of emotional influences that can skew your balance. Fear or pride may push you towards skepticism to protect your ego or worldview, while hope or desire may push you toward open acceptance without sufficient scrutiny. Recognizing these emotional drivers helps you maintain equilibrium. Another strategy is to engage with diverse viewpoints intentionally. Expose yourself to ideas that challenge your beliefs and examine them critically. This practice builds mental flexibility and prevents the trap of echo chambers, where confirmation bias flourishes. Through this, you learn to evaluate ideas on their merits rather than their alignment with your preconceptions. Dialogue is a powerful tool to balance skepticism and openness. When you discuss ideas with others, you test your reasoning and confront blind spots. Listening carefully to well-reasoned arguments can expand your understanding, while articulating your doubts clarifies your own thinking. Approach these conversations not as battles to win, but as opportunities to refine your judgment. Remember that neither skepticism nor open-mindedness exists in isolation. They are complementary forces in a continuous cycle. Skepticism without openness hardens into cynicism. Openness without skepticism dissolves into gullibility. True wisdom flows from the interplay between questioning and considering, doubting and exploring. This balance also guards against decision fatigue. When you reject everything out of hand, you expend energy fighting ideas unnecessarily. When you accept everything uncritically, you become overwhelmed by noise and indecision. Maintaining this middle ground conserves mental resources and sharpens focus. In practice, this means setting clear criteria for acceptance and rejection, rooted in evidence and relevance. It means staying flexible enough to revise opinions when warranted but firm enough to discard faulty arguments. It means recognizing when to move on from endless questioning and make a choice, trusting your well-calibrated judgment. As you develop this skill, you will notice improvements beyond decision-making. Your relationships deepen because you listen without judgment, yet stand firm in your values. Your learning accelerates because you sift through information efficiently. Your confidence grows because you know your conclusions are thoughtfully earned. Balancing skepticism and open-mindedness is an ongoing journey, not a fixed destination. It requires vigilance to avoid slipping into extremes, curiosity to welcome new insights, and courage to question your own convictions. Each decision you face is an opportunity to refine this balance further. In a world flooded with information and competing narratives, this ability is more critical than ever. It empowers you to navigate complexity with clarity and resilience, avoiding the traps of manipulation and self-deception. It transforms confusion into clarity and hesitation into decisive action. You are not required to accept everything you hear, nor are you required to dismiss every unfamiliar idea. Instead, commit to thoughtful evaluation that honors both critical inquiry and open exploration. This commitment will serve you well throughout life's uncertainties and challenges. By mastering this balance, you protect your mind from stagnation and your heart from closedness. You become a seeker of truth, a careful judge of ideas, and a courageous learner willing to grow beyond comfort zones. This path leads to wiser choices, richer understanding, and a life lived with intention and insight. Every time you practice balancing skepticism and open-mindedness, you sharpen your reasoning and expand your horizons. You become better equipped to face complex problems, engage meaningfully with others, and build a worldview rooted in evidence and empathy. This balance is the foundation of sound judgment and lifelong growth. As you continue developing this skill, remind yourself that doubt and belief are not enemies but partners in your quest for wisdom. Nurture both with equal care and watch as your decisions become clearer, your mind sharper, and your life more empowered. Chapter 17. Practice mindfulness to maintain focus during critical thinking. Focus is your most valuable asset when it comes to thinking deeply and making wise decisions. Without it, your mind wanders, distractions multiply, and clarity fades. Practicing mindfulness is the anchor that keeps your attention grounded, allowing you to navigate complex problems with calm precision. Mindfulness is not just a trendy buzzword, it's the deliberate training of your awareness to be fully present, undistracted, and engaged in the moment. This skill transforms how you approach critical thinking by giving you the power to control your mental landscape instead of letting it control you. When you think critically, your brain needs to sift through layers of information, assumptions, biases, and emotions. This process demands uninterrupted attention and a clear lens through which to analyze facts and ideas. Mindfulness builds that clarity by training your mind to notice when it drifts and to gently bring it back to the task at hand. It creates a mental space where you can observe thoughts without immediately reacting, which is essential for honest evaluation. One of the first benefits of practicing mindfulness during critical thinking is that it strengthens your ability to focus on the present moment. The mind naturally jumps from one idea to another, often leaping ahead to conclusions or revisiting past mistakes. Mindfulness teaches you to catch these distractions before they derail your thought process. Instead of letting your attention scatter, you learn to anchor it on the details and questions that truly matter. This heightened focus enhances the depth and quality of your reasoning. Moreover, mindfulness increases your awareness of your own mental and emotional states. When you think critically, emotions can cloud judgment, whether it's anxiety, frustration, or overconfidence. Mindfulness trains you to recognize these feelings as they arise without getting swept away by them. This emotional awareness prevents impulsive reactions and helps you maintain an objective stance. By observing your emotions with curiosity rather than judgment, you can decide whether they should influence your reasoning or be set aside. Another powerful aspect of mindfulness is its ability to slow down your thinking. In our fast-paced world, there's pressure to make quick decisions, but critical thinking requires patience. Mindfulness cultivates a calm, deliberate pace, allowing you to explore ideas fully before rushing to conclusions. This slowdown reduces errors caused by haste and opens space for creativity and insight. It encourages a more thoughtful exploration rather than a superficial glance. Mindfulness also encourages non-attachment to your initial thoughts or conclusions. When your mind is clear and calm, you are more willing to question your assumptions and consider alternative viewpoints. This openness is crucial for avoiding cognitive biases that can limit your perspective. Being mindful helps you see thoughts as temporary visitors, not absolute truths, which allows you to revise your opinions as new information emerges. Practicing mindfulness is a skill that can be developed through simple yet consistent habits. Start with brief moments of focused breathing, where you pay close attention to your breath flowing in and out. This practice trains your brain to maintain focus and return to the present whenever it wanders. Gradually increase these moments and apply the same principle when you engage in critical thinking tasks. During problem solving or analysis, pause regularly to check in with your attention. Are you fully present, or has your mind drifted? If distracted, gently guide yourself back without frustration. This practice reinforces your ability to sustain focus over longer periods, a vital ingredient for deep reasoning. Mindfulness also invites you to cultivate curiosity about your own thought process. Instead of rushing to judge ideas as right or wrong, observe how your mind forms opinions and reacts to information. This metacognitive awareness sharpens your self-understanding and highlights areas where your reasoning might be influenced by unconscious biases. Incorporating mindfulness into your daily routine creates a foundation that supports all critical thinking efforts. When you start your day with mindful awareness, you set a tone of clarity and intention that carries through even the most complex decisions. This preparation primes your mind to notice subtle details and question assumptions rigorously. Moreover, mindfulness enhances your ability to listen deeply when gathering information or engaging in discussions. Instead of planning your next response or being distracted by external noise, mindful listening allows you to absorb information fully. This attention to detail often uncovers insights that would otherwise be missed and enriches your understanding of the issue. Mindfulness also reduces mental fatigue. Critical thinking is demanding, and without mental rest, your cognitive performance deteriorates. Mindful breaks that involve simple awareness practices recharge your focus, improve mental stamina, and prevent burnout. These pauses ensure that your thinking remains sharp and productive over extended periods. As mindfulness becomes an integral part of your thinking process, you will find yourself more resilient in the face of uncertainty. Complex problems often come with ambiguity and conflicting information, which can trigger stress or confusion. A mindful mind approaches these challenges with calm acceptance rather than resistance, allowing for clearer, more creative solutions. Importantly, mindfulness supports humility in your thinking. By observing your thoughts without attachment, you accept that your current understanding is provisional and open to refinement. This mindset reduces defensiveness and promotes continuous learning, which are essential traits for sustained intellectual growth. In practical terms, applying mindfulness during critical thinking means slowing down your reactions, focusing on the evidence before judgment, and observing your cognitive habits. It means becoming a careful, attentive investigator of ideas rather than a rushed decision maker. With regular practice, this approach becomes second nature, transforming how you engage with problems. Remember, mindfulness does not eliminate challenges in reasoning, it equips you with the tools to face them with greater clarity and composure. It strengthens the muscle of your attention, quiets distracting noise, and fosters a balanced perspective that is neither impulsive nor closed off. This balance is the soil in which sound decisions take root. As you cultivate mindfulness in your thinking, you will notice a profound shift in your mental agility. Problems that once seemed overwhelming become manageable puzzles. Complex issues unfold into understandable parts. Your confidence grows not from certainty, but from your ability to think clearly amidst uncertainty. Ultimately, practicing mindfulness during critical thinking is a gift you give yourself, a way to honor the power of your mind by keeping it focused, clear, and engaged. It's a commitment to presence, patience, and honest inquiry that transforms not just how you think but who you become. The more you embrace this practice, the more your reasoning sharpens and your decisions resonate with wisdom. Your journey toward mastery of critical thinking starts with a single mindful breath. From there, every moment of focused attention builds a foundation of clarity that supports every choice you make. This simple yet profound practice is your secret weapon for facing life's toughest questions with calm, sharp insight. Chapter 18. Create habits that encourage continuous mental challenge. If you want your mind to grow stronger every day, you must build habits that relentlessly push your mental limits. Growth never happens in comfort zones. It demands constant challenges that stretch your thinking, sharpen your focus, and expand your understanding. Creating a lifestyle where your brain is regularly exercised is not an accident. It's a deliberate, ongoing process that shapes who you become and how effectively you solve problems, make decisions, and create opportunities. Mental challenge is like physical exercise. Just as your muscles need resistance to grow, your mind requires new, demanding tasks to develop resilience and capacity. When you face challenges, your brain forms new neural connections, adapts, and improves. Without these challenges, your mental agility dulls and complacency takes hold. The key to continual growth lies in habits, small, consistent actions that build a foundation of mental toughness and curiosity. Start by integrating daily learning into your routine. This doesn't mean overwhelming yourself with complex theories, but deliberately seeking new information that stretches your thinking. Whether it's reading a book that presents unfamiliar ideas, exploring a topic outside your expertise, or listening to thought-provoking podcasts, exposing yourself to new knowledge expands your mental horizons. The habit of regular learning sharpens your intellect and trains you to adapt to fresh perspectives. Another essential habit is to practice problem-solving regularly. Mental challenge thrives when you put yourself in situations where you must think critically and creatively. This could be puzzles, strategic games, or real-life problems at work or home. When you approach problems methodically, weighing options, considering consequences, and experimenting with solutions, you strengthen your capacity for flexible thinking. This habit creates a mindset where challenges become exciting opportunities rather than obstacles. Routine reflection is a habit often overlooked but incredibly powerful for mental growth. Set aside time to review your thinking processes and decisions. Ask yourself what worked, what didn't, and why. This practice builds self-awareness and helps identify mental patterns that either aid or hinder your progress. Reflection encourages you to question assumptions, recognize biases, and learn from mistakes, each a stepping stone toward sharper, more effective thinking. Embracing discomfort is a habit that separates growth from stagnation. When you encounter tasks or ideas that feel difficult or uncomfortable, resist the urge to avoid them. Instead, lean in and engage fully. This willingness to face mental discomfort fuels neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and grow. Each time you persist through difficulty, your mental endurance strengthens, making the next challenge easier to face. Diversity in mental challenge is crucial. Don't just stick to one type of problem or learning. Vary your habits to include different modes of thinking. analytical, creative, emotional, and strategic. This diversity trains your brain to switch between modes fluidly and respond effectively to a wide range of situations. For example, balancing technical problem-solving with creative pursuits like writing or art nurtures a well-rounded mind capable of innovative insights. Accountability is a powerful habit that keeps mental challenge consistent. Share your goals for mental growth with a trusted friend, mentor, or group. Regularly reporting progress or discussing insights helps maintain motivation and focus. Accountability also invites external feedback, which exposes blind spots and encourages deeper learning. When you know someone is watching your journey, you push yourself harder and stay committed. Setting incremental goals is a habit that fuels continuous mental challenge without overwhelming you. Break down large ambitions into manageable, progressively harder tasks. This approach builds momentum and confidence while ensuring your brain is consistently stimulated. Celebrating small victories along the way reinforces your habit loop and motivates you to tackle increasingly difficult mental challenges. Limit distractions during mental workouts. Our modern world is filled with interruptions that fragment focus and reduce mental stamina. Create dedicated time blocks where you minimize external noise and distractions, allowing your mind to engage deeply with the challenge at hand. This habit of focused immersion increases the quality of your thinking and builds cognitive endurance. Curiosity is the seed from which mental challenge grows. Cultivate a habit of asking questions, not just accepting information at face value. Question assumptions, explore alternative explanations, and seek to understand the why behind everything. Curiosity drives exploration and discovery, turning even routine activities into opportunities for mental growth. Another critical habit is embracing failure as feedback rather than defeat. When challenges lead to setbacks, view these moments as valuable lessons. Analyze what went wrong, adapt your approach, and try again. This resilience habit builds mental toughness and fosters a growth mindset that sees every experience as a chance to improve. Integrating mindfulness practices enhances your ability to maintain focus and clarity during mental challenges. Simple habits like mindful breathing or brief meditation sessions help regulate stress and improve concentration. When your mind is calm and present, it processes information more efficiently, making your mental efforts more productive. Collaborating with others who challenge your thinking is a habit that accelerates growth. Engage in discussions, debates, or projects with people who have different perspectives. These interactions expose you to new ideas, force you to defend your reasoning, and reveal gaps in your understanding. The habit of seeking out intellectual diversity expands your mental agility. Consistency is the backbone of any habit, especially those aimed at mental growth. Commit to daily or regular practice, even if it's just a small effort. The compounding effect of consistent mental challenge transforms your cognitive abilities over time, far more than sporadic bursts of effort. Keep a journal to track your mental challenges, insights, and progress. Writing clarifies your thinking, solidifies learning, and highlights growth areas. This habit also creates a tangible record of your journey, reinforcing motivation and accountability. Finally, remind yourself that mental challenge is a lifelong pursuit. There is no finish line, only continuous evolution. Every new skill mastered, every idea explored, and every problem solved builds a stronger, more adaptable mind ready to face future challenges with confidence. Creating habits that encourage continuous mental challenge is a conscious decision to invest in your most valuable resource, your mind. It demands discipline, curiosity, resilience, and patience. Yet the payoff is profound. A mind that is agile, insightful, and capable of transforming obstacles into opportunities. This mental strength is the foundation for success in any area of life. Embrace these habits and watch your capacity for growth expand without limit. Chapter 19. Teach others what you learn to deepen your mastery. True mastery is not achieved until you teach what you have learned. The act of sharing knowledge transforms information into deep understanding. When you explain concepts to others, your mind clarifies ideas, fills in gaps, and builds stronger connections. Teaching is more than just giving information. It's a process that solidifies your skills and reveals new layers of insight. When you commit to teaching, you move from passive learning to active engagement. This transition forces your brain to organize thoughts clearly and anticipate questions. Preparing to explain a subject requires you to review material thoroughly, identify core principles, and find meaningful ways to communicate them. This reflection enhances retention and comprehension beyond any solitary study. Sharing your knowledge also invites fresh perspectives. As others respond, ask questions or challenge your points, you encounter viewpoints that deepen your understanding. These interactions encourage you to refine your ideas and adjust your explanations. Teaching becomes a two-way street where you continuously grow while helping others progress. The vulnerability involved in teaching pushes you to overcome the fear of imperfection. You learn to embrace mistakes and gaps in your knowledge as opportunities for growth rather than weaknesses. This mindset cultivates humility and resilience, qualities essential for true mastery. Teaching transforms abstract ideas into practical skills. When you explain a concept, you often use examples or real-world applications. This process helps you connect theory to practice and internalize lessons at a deeper level. It also highlights the relevance of knowledge, motivating you to explore further and innovate. One of the greatest benefits of teaching is accountability. When you know others depend on your guidance, you take your learning seriously. This responsibility drives consistency and discipline in your study habits. You become more intentional about your progress, knowing your growth impacts others. Teaching also builds communication skills. To make complex ideas accessible, you develop clarity, patience, and adaptability in how you present information. These abilities are transferable to many areas of life, improving your influence, leadership, and collaboration. Furthermore, when you teach, you create a legacy of knowledge. You contribute to a culture of learning that extends beyond your own development. Helping others unlock their potential is a powerful way to make a lasting impact and reinforce your own purpose. To harness teaching for mastery, start by sharing what you learn in simple ways. Discuss new ideas with friends or colleagues. Write articles, create videos, or lead small study groups. Each effort strengthens your grasp and builds confidence in your expertise. Engage actively with learners by inviting questions and encouraging exploration. This dialogue keeps teaching dynamic and enriching. It challenges you to think on your feet and adapt your approach, further deepening your mastery. As you teach more, seek opportunities to mentor or instruct formally. Structured teaching environments provide valuable feedback and require you to develop comprehensive understanding. The demands of guiding others push your skills to new heights. Remember, mastery is a journey, not a destination. Teaching is a powerful tool that accelerates this journey by transforming learning into active growth. The more you share, the more you discover about the subject and yourself. By making teaching a regular part of your learning process, you create a virtuous cycle. You deepen knowledge, build confidence, enhance communication, and inspire others, all while solidifying your own mastery. This cycle fuels continuous improvement and lifelong growth. Teaching what you learn is a bold step toward excellence. It challenges you to rise above passive consumption and become a true creator of knowledge. It demands courage, commitment, and generosity, but rewards you with profound understanding and influence. Embrace teaching not only as a way to help others, but as a powerful path to deepen your own mastery. This mindset transforms every learning experience into an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more capable. When you teach, you don't just share knowledge, you embody it, making it an inseparable part of who you are. Chapter 20. Commit daily to improve your critical thinking skills. Every single day you choose to sharpen your critical thinking skills. You lay the foundation for a life built on clarity, wisdom, and effective action. Improving your ability to analyze, evaluate, and reason isn't a one-time event. It's a daily commitment that transforms how you understand the world and how you respond to it. Critical thinking is the key to cutting through confusion, making smarter decisions, and navigating life's complexities with confidence. When you decide to practice critical thinking every day, you create a habit of questioning and reflecting rather than accepting things at face value. This habit trains your mind to look beyond assumptions and surface-level information. Instead of reacting impulsively or emotionally, you learn to pause, gather evidence, and weigh options before drawing conclusions. This approach not only protects you from errors, but also opens the door to deeper insight. Daily commitment to critical thinking means you treat your mind like a muscle that grows stronger with use. You deliberately expose yourself to challenging ideas, puzzles, and problems that require careful thought. This exercise stretches your mental capacity and teaches you to spot inconsistencies, recognize biases, and identify logical fallacies that often cloud judgment. It also requires cultivating curiosity and humility. Being genuinely curious pushes you to ask better questions and explore unfamiliar perspectives. Humility reminds you that no matter how much you know, there is always more to learn. This balance keeps your thinking flexible and prevents the trap of rigid certainty, which limits growth. Making critical thinking a daily practice encourages you to develop self-awareness about your cognitive habits. You begin noticing when you jump to conclusions, cling to personal biases, or avoid uncomfortable truths. Recognizing these tendencies is the first step toward correcting them and improving the quality of your reasoning. A powerful way to integrate this into daily life is by reflecting on your decisions and thought processes regularly. Take time each day to review moments where your judgment was tested. Ask yourself what you did well and where you could have applied better analysis or skepticism. This habit of reflection builds mental discipline and accelerates your progress. Engaging with diverse sources of information also strengthens your critical thinking. Reading books, listening to different viewpoints, and discussing complex topics with others challenges your perspectives. Exposure to varied ideas forces your mind to compare, contrast, and evaluate information more thoroughly, refining your ability to discern truth from error. Another vital aspect is to practice patience in thinking. In a world of instant reactions and overwhelming information, slowing down your mental processes is revolutionary. Giving yourself the time to think critically, rather than rushing to judgment, produces clearer and more accurate conclusions. Committing to daily improvement means embracing mistakes and failures as valuable feedback. Each error in reasoning is an opportunity to learn and adapt. Instead of shying away from mistakes, you analyze them objectively, identify what led to flawed thinking, and adjust your approach going forward. This mindset turns setbacks into stepping stones. You can also enhance critical thinking by challenging your own beliefs regularly. Ask yourself why you hold certain opinions and whether they withstand scrutiny. This practice guards against dogmatism and encourages continuous growth. It demands courage to face discomfort, but leads to stronger, more resilient reasoning. Critical thinking grows deeper when paired with effective communication. As you refine your ability to think clearly, work on expressing your ideas with precision. Explaining your reasoning to others exposes gaps in logic and forces you to clarify your thoughts. Teaching what you learn in critical thinking not only benefits others, but also sharpens your own skills. Incorporating critical thinking into everyday activities reinforces its practical value. Approach routine decisions, work projects, and personal challenges with an analytical mindset. Break problems into smaller parts, evaluate evidence, and consider alternative solutions before acting. This practice turns ordinary moments into opportunities for mental growth. Technology offers tools to support your daily practice. Journaling apps, thought organizers, or online courses provide structured ways to train your mind. Use these resources to track your progress, set goals, and stay motivated. Consistency in using these aids amplifies the impact of your efforts. Remember, critical thinking is not about being cynical or negative. It's about being thoughtfully engaged and open to complexity. It encourages you to embrace nuance and uncertainty rather than seeking simplistic answers. This sophistication in thinking leads to wiser decisions and better outcomes. As your critical thinking skills improve day by day, you become more confident in your ability to face uncertainty and complexity. You learn to separate facts from opinions, detect manipulation, and make decisions aligned with your values. This empowerment ripples through every area of your life. By committing daily to improve critical thinking, you are investing in your most valuable asset, your mind. This ongoing effort enriches your understanding, sharpens your judgment, and empowers you to create meaningful change. It's a commitment that elevates your life beyond reaction to thoughtful mastery. Start today by dedicating even a few minutes to examine your thought patterns, ask probing questions, or challenge an assumption. Small, consistent steps build momentum. Over time, these daily efforts compound, resulting in profound growth in clarity, wisdom, and effectiveness. Critical thinking is a lifelong journey. Each day you engage with it intentionally, you strengthen your ability to navigate complexity and uncertainty. This habit sets you apart as someone who doesn't just drift through life, but moves with purpose, insight, and resilience. In making critical thinking a non-negotiable daily commitment, you become the architect of your own clarity and success. Your decisions improve, your relationships deepen, and your ability to solve problems expands. This